recording again. And we'll just deal with it. Half the time this streaming utility seems to pick up the second Chrome window, and half the time it says, nope, I'm not only dealing with one Chrome window, screw you. And I have no idea how or why it makes that decision. Alright, let's see. This is the right screen, yes. Alright. So, I know it's been a long hiatus. We've been away for a month, basically. No, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Is everybody here? Ray, are you back where you can hear us at least? I don't think he's back.
I can hear you. I just don't think you want to hear what's going on.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right,
now
so,
I'm curious. I want to hear.
No, don't be curious.
Trust me. Yes. All right. Yeah. So who would like to take a stab at what happened during the last session as a recap? Anyone?
I think it's Mike's turn if he wants to. Otherwise, I can jump in.
Sure. Gosh, that seemed like a while back. But I think the last game is where we had returned from visiting the fairies down in the south. We dealt with the aftermath of that. Oh, no. It was after that we met the gypsies that came out of the hole, and then the next game was that one. So, sorry. So, after shopping with the gypsies, whose name escapes me, the Oomph or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was something with an O. He went back over to the obelisk and monkeyed around with it a little bit more. We then called for the local Blackheart tribes to come out and talk to us, traded some information with them, and secured the release of the kidnapped children. We did something else monumental. I think, did we move right then to investigating the boats, or was there something in between?
There was some dicking around in camp in between.
The exploding corpses that came wandering into camp that the shaman was summoning.
Oh, yeah, we went down south and...
Oh, yeah, you're right. We did. We went down there and we saw we dealt with one exploding corpse that came into town, went down south to find the source of it, was smart enough not to engage the high-level red hand or whatever they are, orcs, that were summoning them up. We came back and got the big boys to go deal with them while we stood in the back and tried to look cool, try to get caught in some of the pictures that were taken in case, so people would think we were also cool by association. And then we came back. Then we went and monkeyed with the obelisk some more. Got the children back. Then we decided that we wanted to go sail across to see where the raiders were coming from to the north, and figured we'd better figure out how the boats work. Found 4 different magical runes, I believe, on them that control different functions. Monkeyed around with them enough to nearly get Amon killed, which is it's not a game unless we nearly get Amon killed. And I believe decided then to quit while we were ahead or while we were behind. Amon summoned one of his colleagues over, that toy maker guy, try to get his input on the boats. They, from what our Death can tell, had some sort of an argument. The toy maker guy tried to walk away, and Amon decided to yell at the back of his head a couple of times until he released some horrible magical energy that nearly killed a bunch of children. And I think that's all I remember.
Okay. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
We I ID'd the magic items.
That's right.
So
Right.
Ray has the bracer thing that does the cold attacks. I have the bone short sword that does a poison attack. I figured out what the boat did and how it worked, and that it could be called back to the ship at any time, which makes it a dangerous thing to even row, because if the demons call it back to the ship, we're kind of called back to a ship full of demons.
I think we decided there was probably some sort of distance factor there, and they sailed away.
Yeah, but it's the tie is still there, and it still technically could happen. It probably won't. And it was in the PvP in between that I laid into Thomas a bit because he was being a douche, and he threw a lightning bolt at the cliff face and tumbled a bunch of rocks down that could have killed us. And apparently that triggered some sort of response from the city that sent like a thunder attack through the entire valley that nearly killed me and nearly killed at least one child and hurt some other people.
Okay, that is right. So there was, this bell sound of thunder that literally just, rushed through like a sonic boom through the valley and smashed into everybody. Some people, if they were directly behind the bole of a tree or a rock or something like that, or a stack of ship supplies, then the attack was automatically considered at best weakened, and like minus whatever, -5 or -10 to hit. And then if it missed, it would do half damage. So some people took half, some people took a quarter damage, especially all the Hanes that were crouched amid the boulders and stuff like that, and behind all the supplies. They pretty much had, really reasonable cover, and most of them took very minimal damage from that. But people that were caught out in the open for whatever reason, were hit by the full brunt of that type of an attack. So that's kind of what happened. Obviously, the three of you and whoever else is here with you as an NPC, which right now is effectively Thomas and Topper. And is Lena Thala with you guys? I don't think she is she?
I thought she was supposed to be, but she isn't on the map here with us.
Okay. I think there was
some...
Does anyone else have an opinion on that? Because I don't remember.
I have the opinion that we invited her along.
Okay.
I don't recall whether she was one of the ones that said, I'm doing my nails or washing my hair tonight or whatever.
All right, somebody roll a d20 luck roll for her, and if she rolls, in the top half is half damage, and in the top 1/4 is 1/4 damage that she took from that.
You got a 6.
Okay, so she took the full brunt of the attack. And just out of curiosity, does anyone remember what that was, damage-wise?
I don't know that I ever knew that.
Okay. I believe it was 20-something.
It was all done on the boards, and
it
I
was
didn't look.
substantial.
But yeah, 1 second. I'm moving Lena Thala's token over because the Ultimate's awkward token retrieval methodology. All right, so she will be sort of there-ish, but she would be probably closer to the boat, and I do not see Calvin. Where the heck is Calvin?
That's because
let's
Calvin's
see.
over in the camp.
Oh, you didn't go over here.
No.
Okay, so you
It
were.
was
Sorry, go ahead, Calvin.
it was 23 thunder damage,
That was
Robert.
it. Okay, thank you. All right, so just to make sure, we have Lena Thala in the thing, and we don't have her on there anymore. Okay, we'll get her in a minute. But I think I've got her in the. Yes, I do. Okay.
I guess we need to apply this damage to ourselves.
I've already done it on the battle tracker, so yes. Now
Oh, okay. Good.
everybody take a look at the battle tracker and note what your current health is. Calvin, you were done on the assumption that you were there. So, what were you doing at camp? I did not know that you were not with the others. I recall that you were with the others. Let me one second. Let me. That dispute is going to cause me to have to look up the thread, the PvP thread that we did. Because if you talk
I have
to the
it open.
PvP thread, then that would be indicative that you were with the other PCs, right? So,
Calvin shakes off the effect of the bell, looks and sees most of the camp reeling, looks to see if any in his immediate vicinity need to be stabilized, then stands up, straights and sprints as fast as he can to where Isla can normally be found.
okay, so so that sounds like his post actually confirms that he was in the camp. Okay, so I don't see a reason. We're going to assume that that you're 50-50 on half damage or a quarter damage. So you roll a luck roll. If you get low, you're take half the damage, and if you get high, you take a quarter damage. And tell me what the result is, because I'm not looking at the screen.
I've got to find my token.
Okay. Well, yeah, just roll a d20.
His token is by the river on the campsite.
I rolled a 2, so I think that's fairly lucky.
All right. So you went a 2. It's not a 1. It's a well, that's fairly
It's a
lucky.
2, not a 1.
Okay, so you take 12 instead of 23, which is actually your armor stops thunder damage, so you take 10 damage. All right, so you're the only one who's not left at least bloodied by that scenario in the meaningful group of people. Okay, so now the battle tracker should be correct for everyone. 1 second. I don't know why this is fighting me so badly. Okay, there we go. All right. So now your token is where you are. So you run to where Isla is, and you find her, looking around, helping people. This is the little girl, right? The
Yes.
Vanya shaman cleric.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She is actually helping other people and does not seem to be significantly wounded. She took some damage, but it was probably just a little bit, ruffled her feathers at best, type of thing. And I mean, you realize, of course, that she is, a fully classed, at least first level person, even though she's quite young. So,
Okay.
so she's a little tougher than, Minion Haynes. And I'm saying that in meta speech, not in in-game parlance. She just seems to be tougher than a lot of people.
Oh, were any of the people in camp killed?
Yes, there were, maybe a handful, let's say, of people killed, but no one of any particular note to the story. Not trying to be cruel to those people, but they were just tokens. They were just random pain.
We can call those irrelevant people in my
That's
game.
Yes.
less food that we need to gather anyway.
That's right. They wore red shirts in Star Trek. They were yeoman Phipps. Okay, so you get to her and you find out that she's fine. She's actually helping other people. So,
All right.
So anyway, I guess we're to the point and of course, I'm not exactly sure what was the last thing posted in that thread. Let's see. Other henchman, a warrior named Epod, lurches up to the child as well. He watches Ardeth work some healing effort on the kid. The child regains its consciousness and still seems a little bit dazed. Little kid actually throws a flopping fish on the shore back into the water. All right, let's see. The people at the beach camp are mostly okay. Stones and boulders did provide some protection. Yep, okay. All right, so I think we've covered back to where we were. Thomas had already begun walking back towards the camp, so we will put him a little further along. He's somewhere closer to the camp now. All right, and what time of day is it? I think it's like late morning, basically, if I recall properly. It's mid to late morning, somewhere in there. All right, so I guess at this point we can just go ahead and start. So what do you guys What do you guys do? John, Ardeth, and Amon are both over here near the boat, and you know that Calvin is in camp.
I'll walk with the child back to camp, and I'm going to need some healing.
Okay, so Afad, which is the Hain, he's not shown on the map. He walks with you and the broken child back towards camp. Roll an insight check. You need a 11, Amon.
Okay, hold on. I almost did an initiative. Yes.
Okay, you made an insight check, finally. You need to carve that in stone somewhere. Okay, so you realize that you are leaving the highly magical boat on the shore. I mean, you know, it might be okay. Who knows?
Topher and Lena are back there with it. I'm gonna.
Okay. All right. So
I'll yell back to Ardeth. I'll take the child back. Can you help Lena and Topher take the boat back to camp?
I say, what the hell just happened?
Ask Thomas.
I just make sure you see me shaking my head, and I wander over to Lena Thala to see if she's okay.
Yeah, she's really feeling it. Of course, she sits down and actually spends a surge, which everybody can spend one surge if they want to.
Righty, I want to.
Okay. So
I'm gonna wait till I have somebody help me make my surge better.
So you spend a surge, Ardeth, and you get your 10.
Yep.
What time of day is it?
It is.
Mid-morning.
It's mid-morning. Let's check on the make sure my the thing is right. Anyway, go ahead with what do you intend to be doing is really the key question here. Like
All right,
just
did
for
you
this
apply
next few
damage to me
minutes.
already?
What now? Sorry.
Did you apply damage to me?
On the tracker, it's applied.
Yes.
All right. I will spend the surge then.
Okay, so yes, it already is updated. Tarn's Day, 11:45 a.m. That's what time it is. Okay. All right. So you spend a surge.
Yeah, although this shows I've already spent a surge. What did we do this morning that I would have spent a surge?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's one of those things again. It's like
I'm not arguing.
yeah,
I'm just
okay.
thinking out loud of what did we do this morning.
You spend the 10 and you're back to full again.
Seems to me you had some power that you could trade a surge for something.
I do not have anything like that at the moment.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and rewatch the end of the last session.
I'm probably getting games.
Yeah, that's just that's why we have to go with the tracker. I know you're not complaining. I'm just saying. I'm just reiterating. That's the whole purpose of it. Okay, so
I'm gonna go into camp and look for a healer.
Okay, so you head on into camp. Ardeth, you're standing there with Topper and Lena, and they both look at you and they're like, "Well," and Topper says, "Let's I guess I don't know. Should we drag the boat back to camp?"
Yeah, I said, help me just make sure this boat stays secure. I mean, we can get it up further on the beach here, or we can take it back where it goes. Whatever you guys feel strong enough to do. It's heavy as hell.
Well, Topper goes, "Hey, I think we should just go ahead and drag it back to camp. I don't know. Let's just do the same thing we did in reverse."
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so he helps you, and y'all take the rope that's attached to the prow and drag it along the shore like you did before.
All right, we take extra care, making sure. I don't care if it takes some time, but we don't want to lose it.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I mean, you've got it. So, yeah, you're. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but mountains tend to explode around here with nobody giving me any fucking warning. So I'm just trying to be.
That's right. What the fuck happened? All right. So.
Everything tends to explode with no warning.
All right. So.
That's a good point. I'm going to give you that.
Not just
everything tends to explode. What?
With no warning.
Everything tends to explode with no warnings.
All right, so you get back to this area right here on the edge of camp, the western edge, and somebody ties the boat to one of the boulders. and pulls it up on the sand so that it's not really affected too much by the current. I guess I moved your token as well, so you're over there.
You did, that's fine.
You see where
We
it is,
double
right?
check each other's work and just make sure it's secure before we leave it.
Yeah. The broken child is taken into the center of the child area where the healing area is kind of set up, and that shaman that you've been talking to, Fragus, he starts taking a look at the kid, and he, is like, oh, okay, this is good. This bandage is good. We'll leave it here, and he's like, most of this has started. I think we'll just watch him and make sure he's okay and doesn't have any lasting effects.
All right, I'll be in line behind the broken kid.
Okay, so you're coming up and you need help. Okay.
I think you could take him if you want to push in front of him.
All right, so did you even spend a surge? You have not spent a surge. Are you trying to avoid spending a surge? Is that what you're...
No, I can spend a surge. I just didn't want to spend just a surge. I wanted to get a surge with a bonus on it.
Okay, so you're willing to undergo quote-unquote mundane healing first, or you want it to be magical healing? Because Fragus looks at you and he says, it's probably dangerous to try to bandage you. You're very badly wounded. I'm good, but I'm not great.
Okay, well, magical healing then.
Okay, so he does his thing, and he will be surge plus 4. So you spend a surge, and you get 11. And you have spent your last surge again. All right, so you are technically exhausted. All right, so anyway, and that doesn't take any time because he did it with magic. So, all right, so let's see. Why is this not going to the other one? There we go.
Yeah, I updated my current surges on my sheet. I don't know if that's supposed to change them on the battle tracker, but
No.
it didn't.
No, the battle
Okay.
tracker is not linked to the sheet. So I actually spent a surge for you on the battle tracker. So I only have you having spent 4. You're -2 when you wake up in the morning.
Oh,
So-
I thought we were -3, so I was just tracking it wrong.
Well,
You just had it.
I'm not exactly sure. I think it's -2, but everyone's got 2 that hasn't been hurt. So yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay.
So it's -2 for waking up in the morning, and there may have been some other reason, but I don't know. Anyway, you've spent 4 of your 7, and Calvin spent 4 of his 9, and Amon has spent 6 of his 6. Okay, all right. So anyway, it's basically noon. People are pulling out lunch. Some of the children, by the way, are learning to fish better than some of the people who are not quote-unquote seasoned fishermen. There's at least 1 or 2 people who are seasoned fishermen, and they are actually fishing and doing quite well with fishing. So, gathering some degree of food for the group. So anyway, I guess at this point we need to know what you guys are going to do. You're kind of at a lull in the activity. You want to just burn through some time.
I'm going to need to sleep before we go and take a chance at fighting anything.
Okay.
You may need to sleep twice before we do that.
I may indeed need to sleep twice before doing that. That's true.
Okay, so
That being said, we need to identify some folks to go with us. And if we're going to just kind of be the rest of the day, and I don't know that Calvin just says, I don't know that I have anything pressing to do other than, try to help with the wounded.
all right.
Um,
Let me take a moment here and say to you guys that if y'all want to start your secondary characters, get them on the timeline, that sort of thing, you're welcome to do so. Obviously, I don't have extensive backstories for them yet. The one I have some information for, and I've already told them about it, is John's secondary character. So he kind of knows some of what that is. I've been discussing Ray's with him a little bit, and maybe, I don't know that Mike and I have done anything with the secondary character. Um, so, um, so anyway, just you're gonna have to bear with me on those backstories because they're secondary characters. But if you want to play them this session, you're welcome to do so. It's just you're jumping in a boat together and sailing off to an island. You may be rolling up a tertiary character if everything goes poorly.
All right. Well, I have a backup for my backup, so I'll bring mine on.
Yeah.
I'm as ready as I'm going to be, I think.
And then we need to hear something from Mike.
Yeah, I don't object to it. I have him designed outside of Roll20, but I haven't set him up in Roll20 yet. So
Yeah.
I'm ready to role play him.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And obviously I'm in the same boat here with respect to my preparation for this session. With my dad's fall and everything, I haven't had as much time as I needed. So a lot of the stuff I'm just going to have to be rolling on the chat line, with a generic roll macro instead of prepped, professional looking macros for the characters and the enemies and stuff like that. Okay, so all of that being said, you are all welcome to introduce your secondary characters and how they get to the group. Before we start that, what I want to do is I want to take 1 second and speak with John in the Cone of Silence. So please move yourself down to the Cone of Silence.
Will do.
Channel switched. User joined your channel.
Okay. So what I needed to tell you was some of the stuff that your secondary character knows just by virtue of the fact that you're in this group of Ankh that has been traveling. Okay, so you are a girl who, I don't know if you've been in, you were with the Bold Step Ankh, and I put some of the information on that with your, like you and I have already discussed it, right?
Yes.
All right. So, but in addition to that, you know some other things. Okay. You know that Rapan, who is the big, tall, Ampish guy that is the leader of this particular group.
Right.
He trades a lot with the Kerr. Okay, and your band of the Amp, the Bold Step Amp, are quite good and used to trading with the Kerr. So, and when I say that, they trade with many different tribes, but in particular, they trade with the Blackhearts and they trade with the Slickskins. Okay, those two different tribes. All right, and the reason they trade in particular with those tribes is because those tribes are less warlike, more reasonable, more open to discussion. They don't really like the Kerr, but they
Slick skin or slip skin?
Slickskins, like SLICKSKINS. All right.
Gotcha.
All right. And you know that the Amp and the Kerr, all of them are not really quote unquote enemies of the Hainish people, but they're kind of afraid of all these people landing on their shore and building, large towns, right? It seems very clear that the Haines are coming here to stay and to build a country, and not only the Haines but the Skanes as well. So they are a little bit concerned, and this is their area, so they're not exactly enemies, but they're not entirely friendly either. They love it that the Haines are coming in and bringing more money that they can peddle goods to. They love that part of it. So you're also aware of the Chrysolian people. The Chrysolian people are an empire on this continent, and they're a magocracy. They're ruled by magic users, right? And they're all demon summoners. So, I mean, when
So that's like going back home, sort of.
well, you say back home, this character is home. So you got to switch your mindset.
Okay, sorry, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
you,
yes.
yeah, you got to switch your mindset.
Like back being with the bad people.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, why is there a magocracy demon summoning group here and a magocracy demon summoning group there? What's the deal? You're not sure. Okay, so you know that the Amp and the Kerr are kind of allies to some degree, in the sense that they are working together to reduce the influence and danger represented by the arrival of the Hanes and the Skeins, right?
Right.
Okay, so you know that that's true. You're a young omp. You're probably not considered much. You're not put into the council meetings or anything like that. But you hear all of that from the other omp. You know they're very concerned. And a lot of the omp girls talk about the Hainish guys because they're big and they're burly and they have different colored hair. You know, all the omp have dark hair. So you actually have either dark brown or black hair. There's no choice.
Yes. I've already included that in her description.
Okay, so all of the omp are that way. You know that the omp, some few people of the omp have fey blood, so that is something that happens with the omp as well. Now, one of the things that you know is happening is the omp are drug peddlers, okay? And that's very normal to you. You consider that perfectly reasonable. However, you know, some drugs are okay drugs and some drugs are not okay drugs. And you know, and I'm gonna ask you as a character, as a player, to you're gonna have some cognitive dissonance here, because you're aware of the fact that most of the people that are Hainish that are already here, like in the big city of Thark, are addicted to some sort of drug, right? And it's
Right.
whatever this drug is, it's very common in the area. You're not sure who or where that drug is from. You just know that it's common. Everybody has it. Okay?
So the Hainish people that have already been on this continent are pretty much all addicted.
Pretty much all addicted, yes. And you know that's very normal. Plus, you also know that this group, this caravan group that you're with, they sell something that they sell a bunch of different drugs, okay? But one of those things is causing that to happen too. And you're not even privy to knowing which one it is. You know that you stay away from a bunch of different things that they sell. You stay away from their wine. There's two types of wine, one red and one white, that you know are addictive and kind of bad for you. There's a type of dark beer that you know that is addictive and bad for you. And there's also an ale that's addictive and bad for you. There's also 2 or 3 classes of things that you can smoke. You know, weeds that you smoke that are bad for you. So you know all of those things. And as a kid in the omp society, you're pretty much told not to, right, by the more conservative members of your tribe, the omp band. Some of the people in your omp band are addicted to these things, and those are considered to be the scandalous omp, right?
Right. Are there any of the drugs or alcohols that we sell that are considered okay for us?
Yes. There are 2 or 3 of the ales. You know, some dark, some light ales, and at least 2 or 3 of the wines that are considered okay. You would probably be considered a little young, but they would still let you drink wine and beer as a 16, 17-year-old omp girl. I don't know how old you
I
are.
have her at 18 right
Okay,
now.
yeah. So they would still be letting you drink, because in omp society, about 14 you can drink if you want to. So anyway, so that's what you know. You know those things, and you know that that for whatever reason, this caravan group is part of the group of people that initially meets new people and gets them hooked on things. Okay.
Right. So this is sort of a method of control of the new arrivals.
That's correct. Okay. So anyway, you know all that. Now, how you feel about that is up to you. I will say this to you, and I want you to role play this part. You love the omp culture, you love the omp, but you are a little unhappy with the fact that your people are so willing to cause tragedy amid these newcomers. You have sympathy for the newcomers to some degree.
Yes.
So you don't want to tell the newcomers directly that it's the omp that are causing this problem, and you don't even know that for sure, but you don't even want to implicate your people. You would prefer to implicate somebody else, like the Kerr or something like that, even though that's a half-truth, if you follow. So that's a tricky role-playing scenario, but I'm going to trust you with it. you don't need to be as direct and forthcoming about it might also be my people, as you, John, would normally
right.
be. Right. Okay. So because that's what the role playing challenge is here. All right. So
I think initially I will probably just try and the people that she likes and is close to, she will just try and steer them towards certain things.
Okay. All right. So let's rejoin the group, and when you introduce her, you can keep those things in mind. You don't have to bring it up initially. In fact, it would be weird.
No, I won't.
Yeah, if you do the first time, say that because that will make it obvious. But all right. So let's rejoin the group.
Channel
Movement
switched.
issues. The movement issues we ran into have usually not been too terrible.
All right.
Hey guys. Okay. All right.
Hello.
So let's take a second then, and unless there is a reason not to, we're going to assume that, and that is the case for John's secondary character, obviously. We're going to assume that the two of you came in on, what was the latest boat? The Spit Goblin?
Spit Goblin.
Yeah. So you came in on the Spit Goblin.
The Spit Goblin or the Pixie Trough?
The Pixie Trough, excuse me.
Oh,
Yeah, Pixie Trough.
Yes, the Pixie Trough. Yeah. Okay, so with Ardeth. So Ardeth has spent significant time with his own secondary character and also with Ray's secondary character. Okay, so with that being said, just briefly, Mike, if you would introduce your secondary character.
So what I know about him right now, he is an older man. He's a Hane. Is a cloud owl. His name is Erden, Ehrden. I typed it into chat for Ray a second ago.
Okay.
He is a warden, an earth strength warden. Is strong and healthy, as you might imagine. And he is where did I type in the personality stuff? Yeah, I put him down as winner, aggressive, and entertaining. So he's a traditional Viking type who parties hard and so on.
Okay.
He's going to be Ray's character's uncle.
Okay. That makes sense. All right, so he's a Beast Clan member of the Cloud Owl Clan, and he is probably going to be a fighter. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's a warden, but yeah,
warden. Okay, all right.
He swings a flail around.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so a Cloud Owl warden. Okay, very interesting. And then Ray, what is you're also a Cloud Owl, right? Probably.
Actually, I like your suggestion where parents were married into each other. So one will be an ash raven, one's a cloud owl.
Okay, that's fine.
So that just works for kind of what I wanted to do, and it kind of works with what Mike was talking about too. So Adeline is a young girl. She is 17. She's probably only come to whatever's going on with her since we've actually coming out of the curse is probably what kind of triggered her ability. But she is a shaman. Or at least she's learning to be a shaman at this point. Technically, it's the path she follows is that of a wisdom, which is I don't know, how would the Hanes describe that? Would that be a witch is what they call it?
Yes, that's a witch.
Okay, so the Hanes would describe her as a witch. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I still need to think about her personality a little bit. She's not going to be terribly outgoing. She is thoughtful. She does think about what she says. She is observant. And she seems to be adept at problem solving. She does not seem to be particularly strong or agile or particularly tough.
Well, is she remarkably beautiful or not?
Not remarkably.
Okay. Yeah, see,
Just, you
the
know.
way I do looks in my world, instead of rolling a comeliness score or tying it directly to your charisma, is you, the player, get to decide if you're remarkably beautiful or not. And what that does is, if people are interested in you for your beauty, it causes a more severe reaction, one way or the other, if you're interested in them and or if you reject them. So it's a double-edged sword, of course, but you get to decide whether you are or not. So you're saying she is not remarkable in her beauty.
No.
Okay.
She has several tattoos. There is quite often a raven that kind of comes and goes
Yeah.
around her.
Okay, so
that is a spirit.
yeah. Okay,
So I think those are pretty normal, that you know that they're spirits, right?
It is not.
I don't think they're solid enough to where you can't.
It's
you
not
can hide it.
100% obvious. If someone just
Okay.
saw you for the first time, they could easily mistake the spirit for the thing that it is, especially in the case of normal type spirits, like things that look like a normal animal or a normal human being.
Okay.
And you'll see more and more that is the case when I introduce characters. There'll be someone standing next to them, and I won't just tell you straight up that it's a spirit.
Okay.
But if you spend any length of time around them, like say, a couple of days or so, then you'll pretty much be a don't roll a 1 insight check to notice the difference.
Yeah. How they communicate to them, the fact that it may just disappear from time to time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once they know it's a spirit, they understand that it's something it's a ghost that you're summoning. Okay. So just for the record, then, Mike, Erden, is he remarkably attractive or not?
Certainly not.
Or ugly.
He may think he is, but he's not.
Okay, I got you. Okay. All right. So then, and that leaves John. John, tell us about your secondary character.
All right. Well, Mike, you've already had an encounter with her, as have I. Decided to basically make her that particular omp that tried to pick your pocket and mine.
Yep. I picked up on that last time you were talking, because you were speaking for her or something.
Yeah. So she is. She's very quick, clever, likable, very attractive, like long ringlety hair, green eyes, which is odd for an omp. So maybe she has some other blood in her. Kind of copper-colored skin, hips, bosoms, There's a short description of her if you click on her thing that basically kind of she walks and people watch her walk and watch her walk away.
Well, tell them what her name is.
Nuri
Okay.
is what she goes by.
Okay. It's funny because I have had one other person, a girl in the campaign 3 or 4 campaigns ago. John, shut your mic off. She was an omp as well, and her name was Nuri. It's just weird. It's just so strange that you chose exactly that name. It's just bizarre for me. Anyway.
I looked through sort of like Gypsy and Rom names and picked ones with meanings that I liked, basically.
Yeah. Well, maybe she did.
So maybe they did the same.
Yep.
So she is primarily a rogue with a bit of bard in her. So she likes to sing. She likes to dance. When she sings, it somehow makes you sleep better and heal a little bit better.
Okay.
And she is dangerous with knives.
And are you sure that the hybrid gets that thing, that Song of Breast thing?
When you take hybrid talent, it does.
Oh, okay. So you take. All right. Good enough. All right. So that sort of introduces the characters. Now, what that means is, the reason I went ahead and introduced them is, you guys are all camping out here somewhere. So, nominally speaking, these people have taken a shine to your group and are hanging around and seem to be interested in accompanying you on various things, right? So they fall into that same category of people like Khaldun and Zahir, you know, they are people that you can pull from to take on missions if you want. All right. So now that we got that all said, I guess I need to know from you guys what you're intending to do. Obviously, you probably need some rest. So are you just letting the rest of this day run out? Are you trying to identify things?
I will study.
Yep.
Work on my ritual for the rest of the day.
Okay, so who are you working on it with?
Zahir, who's who I started working on it with, so continue with him, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. And then Calvin,
Calvin's going to continue trying to just help with the healing.
working with Fragus. Okay, and then obviously Ardeth, you can just run around talking to people. So
Yeah, I'll keep talking to Lathan Ayla and everybody else, you know,
okay.
just to try to keep working on my language.
All right. So we're going to
And
just
Nuri will basically do similar to what Ardeth is doing. She'll kind of wander around the camp, talking to people, meeting people, kind of figuring things out.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody kind of we've said it, so it's in the verbal record. But just so that we won't all have to talk at the same time or again, put what your secondary characters are wanting to do with this time if they want to train something, and we'll go ahead and get them on the timeline. I'm just saying that so that you know we can get that out of the way. All right. So so I'm going to let the time pass, and y'all are going to go to sleep tonight. And incidentally, the assumption is this: when you're in camp, that none of you in particular are on watch. If that is a bad assumption, then you need to make a statement that contradicts it.
Calvin will stand watch some hours during the
Okay.
night, almost every night.
Okay, so he will be specifically on one of the 3 watches during the evening. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just-
That's fine.
Hey, I consider that religious duty.
Exactly. It is. For
Uh,
any Nellis worshippers, certainly.
I do have a couple of calls. Calvin will actually after he stands watch, during which he's going to be. There's a couple of things he's going to do on watch while standing on watch.
Mhm.
But one is he's going to use a power to collect radiant motes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what. Just roll the dice for it if you use that power.
Right.
And then one thing I want you guys to tell me: where is your camp inside the camp? Like where do you guys set up camp?
I usually kind of want to be in that area.
I'm sorry, I don't see the ping. Hang on one second.
It's over by the boat on the right,
Oh, okay.
where just the random person token is.
1 second. All right, I'm moved over. So
Like where Calvin is now. That's usually where Calvin kind of is.
okay, that's the boat area. Okay.
Yeah.
So and normally there would be the other boats would be there, right? But one of them, at least one more, is out fishing right now, and your boat is tied in the wrong place, you know. But that's fine. I'm not saying wrong in specific. I'm just wrong in general. Okay, so you're all right. So that area, well, I mean, you know, it is an area that stinks quite a bit because people are working in that area. That's the work area where all the boats come up and the horses are shitting and everything like that. So you're kind of in a nasty location.
Okay, then maybe further on along the east side.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so over there near that campfire. All right, so now, so other people, does anyone have an objection to that? Mike and Amon, or Ardeth and Amon, do you have an objection to that? Any of your secondary characters object to that location being your sort of party and friends campsite?
I think even if Ardeth had an objection to it, he wouldn't voice it because right now he thinks that he's supposed to be helping Calvin.
That's right.
So-
Okay. Yep. And you notice that almost everybody here, Calvin, just out of curiosity, what is your charisma? It's not
It's
very
10.
good, is it? Yeah. So you seem to be a very put upon as a leader, but you are sort of being recognized as the leader a little bit, mostly because Amon is so chaotic that it's hard to consider him steady enough to be
I
the
am
leader.
not so chaotic.
Okay, well that's your
I
opinion.
am a wee bit impulsive.
Okay, exactly. All right, so and I don't know, Ray, is this your token? This weird, is this thing I put next to you? Is that one of your tokens? Can you move it?
Yes,
Okay, is that the girl's
that is
token?
apparently the girl's token. You did
Okay.
not tokenize her, the picture in her.
Okay, you got lucky.
In the
I didn't
thing.
delete it. All right, so just put it where you want it to be. All right, so
There's Erden.
okay, a Nerdin just like the Erden. Okay, Erden, show nameplate. See, y'all can't click show nameplate.
No.
Okay. All right, so 1 second. All right, so there's Erden. All right, and then on the token, well, we know you're going to change tokens there. Did you say you had a token for her?
I uploaded a picture,
Okay,
but
I'll tokenize that
I
eventually.
needed to host it. I needed to be hosted so I can use it, and then you can tokenize it.
All right, 1 second. So there. So that's the. Oops, sorry. What is going on here? Roll20 is just acting very weird. All right, so this will be her nameplate.
All right.
Yeah, mine isn't showing name either.
Okay, so
Yeah,
there
then
you
can
go.
delete. You could delete the person
Now
token.
I'll delete the other one, and now I will attach that token to her journal entry because it's a 27,000 step process that ought to be one. All right, there we go. And who did else? Erden. Okay, so Erden needs to also be attached to his token, which is, hello, where did he go? There he is.
I saved it into the sheet, but I can't save it as the token.
Yep. Yeah, I know, which is yet another issue. All right, so there we go. I think that's connected to you now. And then John, you have Nuri. We'll pull Nuri out. Okay, and put her onto the. What is going on with that? Maybe I need to hit escape. No, that's not it. Okay. All right, so nameplate. Okay. All right, so your nameplates and your hit point bars are connected. So if you add in your hit point field, it should show on your token. For now, that's enough for us to continue. All right, so what ends up happening then is there's a little more adjustment of this area. Some of these people are not going to be here. They'll be elsewhere so that you notables can be in this area when you want to be in this area. All right, clearing out some of the extras. All right, so that way you're not like right on the edge of the freaking water. All right. And then, you know, there's Zahir's tent you can see is right there. That's where Zahir has been. The madman is no longer there. All right. Majid is there. Y'all know Majid.
Oh, there's two of me on the board, by the way.
Okay. Where's the other one?
One is by Majid and one is by me.
Okay. Amon. Where's Amon then?
I'm by a rock near the Omp wagons, a little to the north of the Omp wagons.
Okay, all right. So we will delete the one that's over in the campsite that y'all are in. Now there's only one. And so you and her are over near the Omps. Okay. All right.
And I'll be, well, actually, we'll be over by Zahir because I want to study.
Yep. All right, so you're over there and Nuri's over here. All right, so that's fine. I'm just saying, and this
I'm
is
moving
not.
her with me.
This doesn't have to be exact. You know, we're just trying to get it to be sort of a default to where you might be. All right, so time passes, the night passes, and wonder of wonders, this day passes uneventfully. Almost nothing happens. Minor things here and there.
And I will need to get some healing in the morning.
Yep. Let me look at the battle tracker for 1 second.
Before Calvin goes to sleep for the night, he will burn his heals on anybody. When he'll go to the healing area and make sure that people get healed over there that need magical healing.
Do you have anything that doesn't require a surge?
No, I probably never will, based on what I'm seeing in my powers. Just so you know.
Okay. Are there any healers that have healing powers that don't require a surge?
Yes, ritual healers.
Warlords.
Warlords.
Okay. Are there any of them in camp that I could talk to before I go to sleep?
Probably Fragus. But he is. Okay, so roll a luck roll. If you get a 17 or higher on your luck roll, then for some reason he has something currently available. Because he's jammed up right now. Just tell me what you got, because I can't see
14.
it. Okay. All right, so he doesn't happen to have anything available. So,
how about any of the AMP?
That's,
Are you willing to pay?
That's included in that luck.
Because Reinhardt doesn't require healing surges.
That's right. Yes, if you're willing to pay, Reinhardt is your man.
I don't have enough to pay like a gold piece for D3 hit points.
You see
it was like 7 for a D6.
You see how impressive Ard actually is. He can do things that no one else can do. Anyway,
I agree. At 4th level, Ard's great cleric. At 1st level, he's a sucky cleric.
Because you don't have any money. Is that why?
That's exactly why.
Okay. All right. So anyway,
do you heal the full overnight?
In essence, no, you do not.
Okay.
You usually get a surge spent that you don't have to spend. You know what I mean?
That
you
makes
heal
sense.
for a surge's worth. Okay, so
I'll heal for another 7. I'll be at 24 in the morning.
Okay, so no, we're doing that right now. So in the morning, and you guys are going to have to tell me what you roll because I'm looking at the battle tracker and not your screen. But everybody needs to do
before you make it tomorrow.
Yeah.
The reason I was asking before that took off of a life of its own is I would ask Calvin for one of those heals that he has in his pocket, and I'll spend a surge on it because I wouldn't go to bed knowing how hurt I was, thinking we're going to get attacked by exploding zombies.
Okay, so Calvin, you're cool with that, right?
Yes.
All right. Does your surge?
I mean, I generally will check with the party before I give them out to other folks.
Does your heal is the surge plus 3? Is that
surge plus 3?
Okay. All right. So that cures him all the way.
That rings my bell exactly and takes me down to surges.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Nuri will kind of hang out around campfire and sing for anybody who wants to, and that will give them a surge plus 2.
Okay. All right. So that's fine. And actually, the fact that she does that, people say, hey, would you like to stay with us? So there's an invitation going out because you're a healer, So that makes perfect sense for why the Haines are trying to, filibuster you to join. And, you're an adventurer, so you seek out these other adventurous spirits.
And Amon had already kind of taken a liking to each other before I even made her as a character, so they will hang out in the evening as they go to sleep.
All right, so the night is going to pass, and it looks like the only one that even needs to bother making a roll is you. So you need to roll a endurance check, and the endurance skill, and just let me know what you make.
A 6.
Okay, that is actually a fumble. All right, so
the fumble roll was a 3.
So. Okay, it was a 3. Okay, excellent. Okay, so we will take that in the spirit with which it was rolled, and so you do not fumble, so you don't get any worse, but you don't improve. You don't get your normal nights. You had a restless night, essentially, is what it boils down to. Okay.
I spent too much of the night up talking to a new pretty woman.
And because you didn't roll any type of fumble, you get your full. You're just -2, so you're only down like everybody else starts with 2 spent. Okay, so everybody's back to 2. I changed that on the tracker. So you wake up, you still got your 13 points of damage on you, but otherwise,
I need your attention for a moment.
Okay.
Hello.
yes.
Calvin intended to attune to the bone necklace that was a gift.
Okay. All right, so roll a nature roll and don't roll a 1. This is just an attunement. Or is there a roll? Did you get the link to the item?
It's a nature roll.
I did not. I knew it was a nature roll.
Okay, so I think it might have a certain amount that it needs, but let's see. This is a primal.
It's well below that. It was easy, I remember.
I remember being, I can use this. The thing that does the frost damage, I remember, I can't use this.
Okay, so the nature attunement DC is 16. So if you rolled above a 16 or 16 or
21.
above, you made it. And 1
All
second.
right, I rolled a 21.
Your name is what's your
Calvin.
This is Calvin. Yeah. So.
And I will attune the dagger. Well, it's a short sword, I guess it really is.
All right. That's a link to the item that you can put in your equipment sheet. And you will attune to the what?
The short sword, you called it a dagger, but it does short sword damage.
Okay. Does it have an attunement roll, or do you know?
I'm looking for the link. I have it somewhere.
Okay.
Hey, Robert, fix my used surges on the battle tracker. You've got me as having used 5. It should be 2.
All right. That's fine. Battle tracker.
I don't want us to start the next game and we trust it because it's
There
strong.
we go. Yeah, that's true. Very good. Good catch.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, who am I looking for? I'm looking for the weapons, and you are talking about the. Oh, you're talking about the baby fang, aren't you?
Yes.
The baby fang. The baby fang is no, and don't roll a 1 attunement. So,
Right.
So roll a nature.
Arcana.
It's nature. It's primal. So you roll a nature check and don't roll a 1.
That will be the same as my insight, I guess. So I'll roll that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so did you not roll?
Roll
a
the 6.
You rolled a
That's
6.
not a 1.
So you rolled a 5, and then okay. All right, so good enough. So you were attuned to that. All right. Now, keep track of each person needs to keep track of the items that you're attuned to, because there is actually a limit, and it's not arbitrary. It's not a small limit. So right now, I know that you guys don't have enough magic items to be worrying about it, but you should just have a list somewhere of the items that you're attuned to. Also, just so you know, I mean, especially Amon would know this as a ritualist. When you attune to an item, that item is connected to your spirit, to your soul. So it is a means for nefarious magic users to reach out and touch you if they ever were to possess an item that you have not deattuned. So, something to be concerned about. Anyway.
Don't lose your shit.
Yeah, don't lose your stuff.
Yes.
All right, so all of that being said, now we are on the next day. So it is no longer Tarn's day. It is whatever the next day would be. And I pretty much think it's Dev's day, but I'm not sure.
And I need healing again.
Yeah. The constant state of affairs.
I will find the best. I will look for the best healer in camp that is available.
1 second. Let me find out what day it is. Does anyone happen to know the calendar? I don't remember it myself. So.
I don't know it.
So that was under cultural.
That is not something I have a link to, but I can find it.
Cultural information.
It's 2 days after the kid had his awakening.
Okay, so yep. All right, so here it is. It's Nell's Day. So it's the day of
Nell's Day.
It is the day of accomplishment, the Workers' Day, Nell's Day. So it is the day devoted to the god Nellos, which is Calvin's deity. All right, so Nels Day. So let's change the thing over here, the environment.
My
Nels.
fort improved by 1 if you want to update the battle tracker.
Okay, your fortitude improved by 1. How did you?
I don't know if you,
because of an item.
by
Okay,
tuning.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't know if you actually track that stuff on the.
yeah, I do. It's on the back side that y'all can't see on the tracker, the GM sheet. All
And I
right,
need a link to that bracer, the
I have
bone
you-
bracer as well.
I have you at 21, 16, 15, 15.
22, 17, 16, 16 is what it should be.
17, 16, 16. That's me. Hang on. 1 second. I probably need to take this. All right, so everybody take
All
a
right.
5. Take a 5-minute break.
Microphone muted.
I'm stepping away.
Hey. Yes. He likes those Heath candy bars, and I brought 2 of them. I guess he probably already ate them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. So yeah, I will. No, I have a whole couple of bags of it, so no problem. All right. Sure will. All right. Bye bye.
So we're all gonna. Is everybody there, or Robert not the only one not there? Did everybody go away?
Can you hear me? What the fuck is beeping?
Microphone
Okay,
activated.
I am back. That was a phone call about my father, and he's fine. It was just a overall status update and stuff. Is anyone here?
Hello.
Oh, hey. All right. We'll wait till everybody checks in. I guess Mike's the only one still away. Looks like you and
Seems like.
Ray are both here. All right, so I guess I kind of need to know from you guys. Are you intending to do something today, or are you resting another full day, like Ray suggested, or not?
I need to.
Okay. I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm just checking. So
And I'll spend another day. Both my guys will spend the day doing the same, and again, kind of
sure.
chatting with each other off and on, kind of sharing stories of their childhood. Blah 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 blah.
Makes sense. Okay, so Ray, I assume you don't have any objection, or you would have said something. So that means Mike would be the only one to object, and we'll see when he gets back what he says. But otherwise, you're okay with going through another 24 hours. So that means it's the next.
I'm okay with that, but I do have a couple of calls that night as well. So,
Okay.
because I know you don't like standing calls.
Yep.
Adeline is going to participate in helping people heal as well, because she's actually a pretty good healer.
Mhm.
And it's kind of what you described, what's kind of expected out of her, as far as their wisdoms. So she's gonna, help the people here. She's not gonna be really particular about anybody that needs help. She's willing to help. Period. Since there's no other, there's one other owl here that would probably take precedent, but I don't think there's any others here from what you told me before. So
All right.
from that point, she'll just help anybody that needs helping with whatever ails them. Doesn't necessarily mean, if it's foot fungus, she'll help with that. Calvin is going to, how long's it? Let me know when a full moon comes around, okay?
All right.
And however many short rests occur during the day, Nuri will sit around a fire with the kids or whoever needs it and sing and do her song of rest.
Okay. All right. So, you're the both of you are helping people as you can. Then, Mike, are you back?
I am.
Okay. So what they're discussing is they're going to burn another day just to get fully ready. So if you have any special calls during that day, let me know.
No, I don't think so. I think our death would actually be happy for the first day, and he doesn't literally doesn't know how long to not have anything that he has to kill today. After killing demons every day on a boat and then showing up here and there being constant trouble,
Okay. All right. So that makes sense then. So the next day is everybody's kind of just, taking it easy or whatever. And that makes it Ard's Day. Who's banging around in the background?
That's me.
Okay. I don't even recognize that voice unless it was Ray. All right. So Ard's Day. Okay. So on Ard's Day, everybody gets up, and let me check the battle tracker just to make sure everything's cool. Because
So I should be all the way healed up then.
Yeah, roll an endurance check. Just
Because I was getting healing during the day, so I had said.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you got healing during the day. No problem then. All right, so yeah, you're fine. All right, so let's just zero everyone out. And we won't even bother with all these guys either, because we didn't do anything that day. All right. So,
Actually, I was a little bit wrong. Adeline's actually a little bit tough. She is a hang after all.
okay, she decided to be a true-blooded hang.
Yeah.
All right. So it's roll a d20. This is a luck roll to determine the weather. Go ahead, Mike. Roll that one for us.
Monsoon.
See what
I can do that.
See what the weather's like today.
Well,
Okay.
there it goes. I
15.
was going to say, I
So
typed it in, nothing happened.
It's a nominally, sunny, warm day. So what do you guys do?
Gather up the gang in boats and go.
Okay, so that's a little bit
I will
vague.
invite Zahir and Topher.
So you
That's Topper.
Topper says it's top her. Like he's on top of
Top her.
Very
Oh.
easy to remember. So he says he says he cannot go on this particular mission. He has other business with the camp that Lord Fuchs has got him on.
Okay, what about the brothers?
Ephraim and Angus can go.
And Zahir?
Zahir can go if you wanted to.
That's my list.
Okay.
That should be enough hit points to surround me.
Okay,
More
so
or less.
I'm sure that's kind of what he's thinking. Are we taking our secondaries?
sure it is.
That would be 9 people, just so we're aware.
yeah, okay,
Yeah, I
so
got secondary going.
so
All right, that's up to 9 folks.
the boat will hold 12. This is the special boat, by the way. We'll hold 12.
Okay. We can invite. I'll ask Fuchs if we can bring Jowls. He's my favorite.
We have no ability to control that dog.
Yeah, he says that he recognizes that Giles is difficult to control, and that he is pretty much the only one that the dog will listen to. You know, and he demonstrates by making a few commands, and the dog follows his commands. But it's not easy to control that dog. So
Well, I guess there's also the downside that he probably is not very good at rowing.
yes, that's true.
Entirely true.
That's true. Now, Giles is available, and he is intended to be an NPC for something, but probably boat stuff is not his best use.
When we need to track something down,
That's
we'll go get the dog.
that's kind of the point of Giles, is tracking. But anyway, and he's fun too. Besides, okay, so anyway, so who all do we have going? Your secondary characters can go if they want to. I'm not saying it's a great idea or a bad idea. It's just that you're literally putting all your eggs into one basket, and that's fine with me.
Well, we only had 1 egg before, so what's 2 eggs now?
That's right. Okay, so what I need to know then is anybody's secondary character not going, or primary character for that matter. Okay, all right. So that's 6 of you right there. Okay, and then you said Ephraim and Angus. That's 2 more for 8, and then you said Zahir. That makes 9.
Lena.
Because honestly, we probably need to have somebody that can watch the boat while we go ashore.
Lena cannot go for whatever reason.
That would leave Matt Ark as the only person that's going to war with us.
Yeah, Manarch or yep, that's fine.
Khaldun as well was somebody who's gone with us before.
Khaldun could, but he is actually doing something with Lena Thala and Corlo C and a Majid. So all of those are actually doing something else.
All right.
Oh, what about hold on.
Yeah, you don't have to take it.
What about Monarch?
Manarch will go if you want him to.
That's fine with me. I just think we need to have somebody kind of watch out for the boat.
Yep. Okay, so all right,
So we know there they steal the boat. We're stuck on an island and we have no ability to get back. And God knows what that means.
I'm not seeing his token, but that's okay. He's with you. Okay, so all right, so let's everybody put your tokens on the boat or close to it. Let me see if I can get this to work.
Monarch is down at the center south of the map, near Lord Fuchs.
Okay, thank you. Yes, he is. All right, so it really needs to be a function that they have is summon the token to here, because that way you don't leave extra copies of the token on the map. But okay. All right, so Ephraim and Angus are over here. I saw them earlier. All right. So they're on the GM layer.
We're up to 10 now, is that right?
Yeah.
Do we want to grab a couple people that we can leave behind just with the boat? A couple extras, like maybe Kurna or somebody?
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who's missing their token on the boat?
Ardeth?
I don't see either of Mike's.
Ardeth and Erda, both of your tokens.
Ardeth and Erdeth.
Erden. Yeah, Mike, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was looking at. I was setting up the character sheet.
2, 3, 4, 5,
I'll
6,
get 'em.
7, 8, 9. Because that's 9. Is that the right number? Or are we missing? We got Madark. We got Angus and Ephraim. Zahir. Here.
Mike, are you working on 2 computers to be able to speak as 2 people, or how are you doing that?
What do you mean as 2 people?
I mean, I see you speaking as Erden and Ardeth in D20.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm just checking. Robert refers back to it. He knows who was doing what.
Right. It's the pull down. There's a pull down beneath the chat bar, John, that allows you to change who you're speaking as. Are you there?
Next to the send
Yeah.
button.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Crazy man. When someone says something to you,
I was looking before I spoke because I wanted to speak with knowledge, not just babbling.
okay. All right. So anyway, everybody
so he's not as
climbs.
chaotic as Robert thinks he is.
He has some degree of yeah, exactly. Jowls, yeah, exactly. All right, so and really I've gotten on to Roll20 about that. Players the only reason you can speak as Jowls is because I've put that y'all can
Yeah, you've
control
given us control over
yeah,
the token.
Yeah. So yeah. All right, so everybody gets on board the boat, and there are 12 oars to this boat, so everybody could oar if they needed to, but 2 people are given special oars which are a little longer and have a strange curve to them, and those are sometimes used as sculling oars, and those are up at the top in the back. So there is a raised area on the ship that 2 people can occupy up in the back. Now
Our most athletic people should be there.
You know as well that you can force an additional 4 people onto this boat with no particular minuses, and then an additional 6 people beyond that, and the boat would just be absolutely waterlined. So just to let you know what the capacities of the boat are. All right,
we've had contact with at least 4 relatively powerful people that came from this island, and I'm guessing they're not the only 4 people on that island. So do we want to go in with a little more force than 9 people?
Well, I mean, in terms of doing combat right now, you guys are at 12 is actually the absolute limit on this boat's ability to, have you
Well, we've got
stand
9
in your,
now.
Yeah, to have you stand in your square and do something without being squeezed.
So I'm asking this of Ardeth and of Calvin.
Well, we've asked practically everybody, I guess, except Reinhardt and Kurna and Vaz.
We want to ask Reinhardt, Kurna, and Vaz.
We will say that Kurna and Vaz are still involved in the digging project over there for whatever reason. Reinhardt, I'm going to say he declines to go on the boat. He says he has very bad experiences with boating. Things get stolen. But he will happily reward your group if you retrieve his box of goods. And he says that he's well aware of the fact that you know what that box looks like, Amon.
Yup.
So he will happily reward you if you return it to him.
All right. I think there are other people with interest in that as well. So we'll see how things go.
So anyway, but he declines to actually physically go.
If he would you care to distribute some of your healing tokens to make the return of that chest more likely?
He tells you that he doesn't have anything that would heal without him being present.
He has little clay discs that can heal us from miles away. He told us this.
The sets, let me see. I don't think the sets work without him being there, but hang on a second. You might be right. There is something like that.
The description he gave in the meta thread said yes.
Okay. Okay, it's actually silver-leafed ceramic. So it's like clay, you're right. Okay. Trying to figure out how this works. Word of Ard. One mile per charisma modifier of the cleric. And they expire or may be renewed at the end of the day. So it's, he says, he says, I have come into possession of only a few hundred extra silver since we've gotten here, and I've of course had a vast degree of my wealth stolen from me, which is what you're now trying to. But I will invest in its recovery. He says that basically for 3 miles, he can have them be useful. So he pulls out. Let's see. He will do. He can do 6 of them. So he gives you 6. That's his daily allotment. No, wait a minute. Let's see. Oh no, yes, it's a free action. So I mean, it's an at-will thing. So he can do as many as he has money. Okay, so he will give you. Let's see. He will give 2 to each of you. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
So that represents an investment on his part of 60 silver per person, which at this point is 9 people. So he's putting 540 silver pieces worth of effort into this, just so you know. Okay, so, and you also know that he is able to eventually, over time, declare a person a close personal friend, and they can pay 1/3 of that cost. So I don't think he ever mentioned that before, but you've since then in the camp.
Who is giving us these? Just so I can record it on my equipment sheet. Where is
Reinhardt
this coming
Command.
from?
It's Reinhardt, who before you came was a player character, and it's a guy who played a cleric of the god of money, Ard. And it is Ard's day. Today is Ard's day. Okay, so.
And then, how do I describe what he gave me?
Okay, so he gives you what's called a set, and it is spelled. Damn it! Where is the spelling of that?
According to Ray, it's SEPT.
That's what I thought I remembered.
No,
Like 7.
No, it's their nickname is Shiners because they're silver-leafed ceramic. So silver-leafed ceramic, they weigh 0.1 each, and they what they can do is the possessor of a set. It's called SEHT set, and you break it by using a minor action to receive the healing. And an Ard worshiper may opt 3 ways. Okay, so none of you are Ard worshippers, so you can only get the D6 of healing. And it takes the lower of his or your charisma modifier to modify that d6. So just be advised that his is 16. So if you have a charisma of modifier, you can add that to the thing because he's as charismatic as any of y'all are. So
No, he's more charismatic than us.
right. So but the point being, it gives you it gives you
Yeah.
the lower of his or yours. So
How do you spell that again? S what?
SEHT,
SEHT.
a set.
So it also has the
Silent H.
silent H,
Yes,
so
it
that
does.
demons will not take over the
So
coins.
SH what?
SEHT.
SEHT.
Got it.
Okay. Now, and they're also referred to as shiners. So he gives each of you 2, and he has known Calvin and Amon long enough, so he gives you 2 more each.
Yay!
Okay, so just be advised that you've got to pull them out with a minor action, and then you've got to break them with a minor action, right? Unless you just constantly hold one in your hand, right?
Or if you have fast hands.
That's true too. Fast hands is a very good feat. All right, so everybody has 2, and you 2 have 4. All right, and it does a d6 plus your charisma mod, basically.
And if your charisma mod is negative, then it's minus.
We won't penalize you. No negatives.
Okay, I just wanted to have it set up right.
Yeah. Let me add that into the description. So that
I'm not going to argue either way.
I'll say no negatives. Yeah. All right. Okay. Good enough. All right. I've modified my notes for that. I think we're ready to actually proceed. How confusing. All right. So everybody is on the boat and just kind of like sitting there.
All right. Just looking around. All right. Is it athletics to row?
Yes. It would be
Any
athletics.
other skills useful?
Insight and nature are used to gain understanding of what you're doing, and then nature, of course, with respect to the waves and all that sort of thing.
I'm back.
But I
I'm
will
not sure
call
what that
for
meant.
Urden's going to be pretty handy here then.
I will call for skills. Yes, Ardeth should be quite good at this. Just
I was talking
naturally.
about Urden, actually, will be.
Erden. Okay.
My
Erden.
nature, yeah, he's all strength, nature, and athletics.
That
so.
name's hilarious to me. Erden. Another just like the Erden. Okay, so that's right. Okay, so my question is, what do? You're all standing there.
Let's go.
Y'all begin rowing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Away from the beach.
All right. So you begin to rowing, and I need after a while of rowing, people can make nature or woods lore checks, whichever you type of skill system you're on right now. Okay.
It is German for Earth, is why he's Erden.
Yep. I know.
Just so you know, it wasn't arbitrary.
Erdenfast. All right.
I rolled insight because it's the same roll for me.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so Adeline certainly notices this. Erden also notices this. Okay, so you notice that the current is definitely solid in a easterly direction in this whole area. Like, you can tell that, in fact, in terms of coastline, you consider that to be quite unusually strong in a singular direction, right?
Yeah, there was some magical thing to that, I thought.
So it's quite notable, and within moments you guys notice it. Now, why you did or didn't notice it from before, from coming in off of the big ship and the the Pixie Trough. I don't know. Maybe you did, but regardless, it occurs to you again to mention it now that yeah, there's a significant current to the east here. But you guys continue to row. Now, I want everybody just to roll a d20 luck roll for each of, obviously for each of your characters. I will roll for my guys. This is Manarch. This is not anything big. It's just, you know, something to kind of set the stage if anything interesting happens. Oh, come on. Really? All right, that was Manarch. And Angus. And Ephraim.
He's looking for a one to tell you that some of the spelling were eaten by sharks.
That's right.
There you
that's
go.
right, Yep.
Got your
Yeah,
one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I was one fishing. Okay, so you did roll a one.
until fail.
All right. Yeah. It's roll at level. Save at level. No bonuses until you fail. All right. So Erden was my happy failure. Oh, wait a minute. I've got to roll for Zahir. Let's see if we can blame the NPC first.
Other player characters, we can always blame the NPCs.
That's actually Zahir is actually Jonathan's character, by the way, Ray.
I know.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew that or not. Okay, so Erden didn't roll a d3 to determine if that is any actual type of fumble or if you save with a 3 and you're escaping it. 2. Okay, a 2 is only a minor fumble. So at one point, of course, Erden is pulling, and Erden, you know this to be true. You're one of the few people here. You and this Ardeth fellow, and who else? That's probably you two are probably the tough guys here. No one else is particularly strong, right? Calvin, are you strong?
Calvin is strong.
Okay, Calvin's strong. Okay, so yeah.
I think Calvin's stronger than our death.
Okay, well, you know that Erden, that it's you and Calvin, and what you try to do, you get mad at a certain point, and you organize the boat so that the people of relatively similar strengths are opposite each other, and it just so happens that you and Calvin are already opposite each other by some stroke of fate. Let's see, I think Manarch is probably the best to be paired up with Ardeth. So Manarch switches places with Adeline, if that's okay with you, Ray.
Yeah, Adeline's not a rover.
Okay, yeah, exactly, yeah. So, and she is one of the typical 8 strength characters. Is that correct?
No, she's got 11 strength.
Okay, 11. Okay.
She's just not very good at it.
Okay, all right.
She's not terrible.
The other one who can row pretty strongly is Angus. So let's see, who else would we? Nuri.
Myself and Nuri both have a 10 strength, but both are trained in athletics.
Okay, that's fine. So the two of you actually are likely to be
Already right next to
so
each
being
other.
right next to each other is good. All right, so in fact we'll put Angus and Ephraim at the same, and Adeline is up at the prow. All right, so that makes for a more even boat distribution. But while you're doing that, you do get into a sort of a verbal row with Angus and Ephraim. They start, and they start mercilessly joking you. Now you got to tell me, what is your response to being picked on with humor for Erden?
I think if he thinks it's good-natured, he laughs along and probably tries to give it back. He thinks it's hateful, he probably tries to throw somebody overboard.
Okay, yeah. So it is relatively good-natured. You can, I will tell you this, because of the fumble, it's stinging you a little more than you, and you're like, gotta find a way to get those guys back, in some good-natured way.
Right.
All right. So y'all, but anyway, y'all are, and you find out, by the way, that Angus and Ephraim are kind of a humorous duet. They're funny, So sometimes funny can be, vicious, but they're not
Yeah,
really.
no, I think he sees it as being part of the group. It's like a bonding thing, especially if we're all in a boat together.
And
He probably is okay with it unless it crosses some line that Mike doesn't know what that line is.
Okay,
but
yeah,
he
and
would
you're
do it
all
if he heard it.
and you're all brand new.
Calvin will lean over and tell him, "Don't worry about it. Last time they were ribbing me for doing something. Ephraim did it much worse and ended up almost dying. So fate will get him."
Okay, so
He laughs and he says, "Oh, it's all in good fun, I suppose."
So you can tell, by the way, when you're looking from the shore out into the ocean here, that there is, various little clumps of rock, standing rock, and small islands and stuff like that out in the water. But the one that they are talking about going to is significantly to the north and to the west, and this current is ridiculous. So the higher roles, Erden and Adeline, discuss it, and I'll give you a chance to say what you would think, as players, before I give you the answer that your nature
And
skill.
I got a 16 as well, so
Right.
same as that
right.
one.
Well, yeah, but the roll necessary was 22. So in this case, Adeline and Erden were the two who made really good knowledge about this particular thing. So you can discuss, if you want to, the two of you could, as players, you could suggest something. Otherwise, I'm just going to tell you what your skill roll would merit you knowing. So what do you want to say anything about that situation before I continue?
You mean as a remedy to it, or just to describe it to the rest of the group? Hey guys, we're not going where we think we're going.
Yeah, as a remedy, like what your destination that you've stated is this island that is not even really visible unless it's a super clear day, way off to the northwest. Okay, and the current that you've got is shoving the boat to the east, and the strength of that current is such that you don't think a non-trained rowing sailor crew has
so we're
any
just going to end up
chance
in the
of
wrong place.
doing
I
it.
would. Okay, well, why don't? Okay, my idea for this would be that we take the boat, and I think it'll probably be faster for us to haul it across the shore like we did the magic boat until we get to the western wall of this bay, and then stick close to that wall and try and head straight out, so the current won't be able to carry us.
Okay, so you've already gone past that point. We're not going to retcon that. So you took off from shore where you were, and
How far out? is it
it's
before we get
probably
started?
20 minutes before this discussion takes place in earnest. So you're
How
noticing.
far?
What
How
do you-
far out is it before the current hits us broadside?
It's almost immediate. It's almost immediate.
Okay.
This current, it looks like, and when you do a guesstimation, there's a point at which, like, right as y'all took off, there's a blast of current, and everybody's like, row fast, and you rode past it, and you see that it's less now. It's less to the east than it was in that one little line along the shore. So there is definitely a line that you were able to get past where it was really fierce. You follow me?
Can from the bow of the boat, can I see the current or the ebbs and flows of it?
I mean, if someone has a reasonable perception, they can probably keep an eye on the current, is the best way to say it, especially if
All
they're
right,
nature
well.
trained as well.
All right. Well, Adeline is +10 at both,
Yeah.
and she's on the bow of the boat and not a good rower, so that's how she'll contribute. Is to
Okay.
try to steer us around to the
Okay.
not worse current.
Okay, so yeah, all right, so that's great. All of that is excellent. Now, the idea being that basically as she does this, about another 20 to 25 minutes pass as y'all are doing this, and the island is getting further and further away. So Adeline,
So we're being pushed. We're still being pushed east, no matter what we do.
you are still being pushed east, yes. And Adeline
East
is
that long, we're probably against the eastern wall of the valley.
you're actually a little bit past that, but you're significantly to the north at this point. Okay, so so anyway, yes, you're
So we
being,
can either go with the current since we can't fight it.
And be carried completely away from camp and never to return.
okay. So all right, so hang on a second.
There's
So
nothing necessarily
with
wrong with that.
those nature rolls, and Adeline now it's about 45 minutes out from where y'all started. She's beginning to get a feel for it, and she's looking at the current and scanning the horizon and seeing what she sees in terms of waves. And what she says is, well, it may be that we can continue moving somewhat north as we are pushed east, and we can get by an even larger swath of faster moving current that's pushing to the west and find another cross current that goes back, that's pushing east, and find a cross current that goes back west. But we have to keep pushing north to figure that out if we can do it or not. Otherwise, we need to turn the boat directly into the current so that we can make progress back to the west toward and just go back to the shore.
That sounds like a very big maybe to me.
Yeah, it is a very big maybe. That is correct. And
Because it just may not be there.
it may not be there. Yes, exactly. So
And then we are swept down to the east, never to see our companions again.
no. Okay, so Adeline, in looking at it, she says this section of the current is going to be harder to the east the more north we try to go until it stops and there's a cross current, if there is one. But if we go back, we can press as we go. If we turn south, we can make some progress back to the west.
Why don't we head our way back into shore, drag the boat across the coast, where we know we can pull it there, and then head north from the western edge of the valley.
She says we can try
Well,
that
that's
if you
only
want.
about 150 feet.
No, y'all are 45 minutes out from the shore. So
No, he's talking about the amount you're going to be able to go west.
yes,
Is not
Ashore.
significant.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and
yeah,
Adeline.
the odds of okay, I'll put it this way. If we go back to camp and then drag the boat across and then go north, literally we're 150 feet from where we started.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we're just going to be
Right now
tired and
we're
back in the same
probably
place.
500 feet downstream. So an extra 150 feet is not going to help. Whereas
Well, we'll
if
make up 650 feet.
but if we find a cross current, then we're going upstream. If we find a cross current, then we're going upstream without a lot of effort.
Okay,
And all we're doing is basically steering.
so roll me a nature check and an insight check for people who want to try to contribute to this as they're thinking about it. Insight and nature, both. It's fine. Oh, that's weird. Roll20 didn't advance the chat bar for some reason. Okay, so, all right, so
Nuri
yeah,
is good at insight, not great at nature.
Erden's still considering his wounded feelings. Calvin, okay, so Calvin rolled a good
No,
insight.
that's insight.
Okay,
That's Adeline.
Oh, Adeline. Okay, sorry. So, okay, so it's just the Calvin thing. Okay, so Adeline rolls perception and then you roll perception and insight.
I roll perception, nature, and insight.
Okay, let's see. All right.
So perception 19 and the insight and nature of 29 each.
Oh, it's down at the bottom. Okay, you were confusing me. All right, so yeah. All right, so you think exactly what you said is true, and with your insight, you are beginning to feel that first current that you felt that was so massive that was coming to the east that y'all rode past, you think that is coming right off the tip of the promontory. So it is going to be fierce right there. It is absolutely going to blast you to the east right off that promontory. You think it's going to be the hardest thing you can do to row past that promontory at that point. You follow me?
Yeah.
That's the source
Yeah, because
of the eastern blast.
that's the source of it?
Yes.
Okay, so past the promontory, it's not there.
Well,
So there's like an underground river that's flowing east
well,
from
no,
that
no, no.
promontory.
Okay, you're going too far. I'm saying the coastal current blasting around the promontory is the
Okay.
source of that that
Sort of a-
big push. Yeah, and so getting past that line,
It's focused around the promontory
Yes.
by the promontory.
and
Got it.
based on how hard it was, 150 to 200 feet to the east of it to get north of that blast, you think if y'all were any more to the west when you started, that it would just knock you even further back to the east, and you'd be about the same. You follow me? It's exponential. As you go further and further to the west, even just a little bit, the blast to the east is more and more and more. So you think that
you're going higher up on the slide, basically, and you're going to come down faster.
That's right. That's right. So that current is going to blast you pretty hard. And frankly, again, like I said before, Adelaide and Erden both are considering it. And Calvin, you too with your nature lore, is like, that is a bitch of a current. That is insane. I mean, there's nothing like it in the Paindraith in that area. So it's just weird. Y'all aren't experienced with this rough of an ocean current. It seems very strange. Almost like there's some megalithic natural event nearby that's causing bizarre currents.
I'm sure that didn't enter my head.
Like maybe a giant whirlpool.
It's like maybe God's own whirlpool somewhere nearby that's causing ridiculous currents for some reason. But anyway. All right.
Or
So
the whirlpool is caused by ridiculous currents.
So then the question still is there some pattern out here in the ocean that you can find by continuously going north that may or may not allow you to get, and remember, there's bands of faster current in the water, and you've passed one of the big eastern thrusts already, and you're in kind of one lull. Well, the question is, does the pattern allow for another northern push that allows then some sort of a western push? That's the question.
Well, the Haines on that island make it here and back somehow.
Okay, good deduction. But that island is to the west.
To the west.
Yeah, so they can just put their boat in the water and let it go. But I guess they
Yeah,
make
but
it
they
back
have to get
somehow.
back home somehow.
That's
and
right.
they do.
That's right. They do. So how is that possible? How does it even make sense?
Well, either magic or another current.
That's right. Okay, so what do you do?
I'll go with the view of the people that know about this stuff, because I don't. If you want me to kill something with magic on the way, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I'd prefer you didn't do that either.
Testing.
I say we
1, 2, 1, 2.
keep going.
Okay. All right, so the group continues to press north, and obviously at intervals you are testing some sort of ability to push back to the west, because that is your ultimate destination. All right, and you arrive at a place that you can tell, and I'm going to shift your map now. You actually made it to a second map. How unusual.
Apparently, Ray can no longer hear any of us, Robert.
Okay, 1 second.
Y'all hear me okay?
Yes?
I hear you, yes.
I hear you.
All right.
Do you hear us?
I hear you, but not through my headset. But my headset,
Your headset is my enemy.
my headset mic is fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's okay. Hopefully you don't have to leave the mic open, do you? Is that what
No,
you're
the
saying?
mic's working fine. I'm just
Okay.
having to listen to you through my PC.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so did y'all change maps?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I am going to center you on your characters now. All right, so the boat is pointed to the north. North is always up. And you have found an area that is literally dotted with sand and rocks sticking out of the water. Okay, and you are looking at this as you know. Obviously, it's not just open ocean anymore. There's little bits and pieces which you can look at if you zoom the map out a little bit to
User
see.
disconnected from your channel.
Who did we lose? We just lost somebody.
Like Ray is gone.
Yeah, okay, so he was having difficulties. All right, so let's give him a second to get back.
User entered your channel.
There he is.
There he is.
Okay, so
All right, I'm good.
so there's this massive area,
Back.
and it looks like the current is slightly lessened. So that's good. So everybody can do the following. 1 second.
Y'all hear me okay?
Yes, we
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'm good then.
do. Okay, so everyone go ahead and roll perception checks now. Obviously, this is a different and interesting area. Well, that's pretty high. Yeah. I gotta be careful. It's new skill system's not gonna give you the cheesy +5 that every first level character can have just by training. But anyway.
But it
all right,
wasn't a fun.
Amon does not. Nuri does pretty well.
All right, so 29, 20, and 18. Okay, so that definitely blew the scale. All right, so yeah, Ardeth doesn't. All right, so but wait a minute, I'm losing the distance here. All right, so Ardeth sees something, Calvin sees something, and Adeline sees something, and Nuri sees something. Okay. So let's look and see what you see. Okay, so in the distance, you can see, and you can see it on the map if you look, there is something fuzzy moving next to one of the small distant rocky islands, and it looks like it's bobbing on the surface of the water. Anybody who rolled a 18 or higher, I mean a 14 or higher tells you that. An 18 or higher tells you that it's indeed some sort of small, like rowboat type boat. And you can also see that there is something large moving around in the water inside the shallow area. And on this map, the shallower areas are the lighter colors of blue, if you can see what that is. Now, when I say that, let me do this. See if I can find anything that makes any sense.
What do you mean by large?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Relative to the size of the boat, maybe a good place to start.
Okay, so
Yeah, not large relative to the size of the ocean would be good.
Yeah.
hang on.
Like whale sized.
That would be large.
I think that would actually technically huge.
20-foot crocodile sized.
Yeah, okay, so let's get it down here. Let's see if I can.
Or yeah, then there's like large pan pizza. Right.
That big. Okay.
Did you put something on the map?
Yes.
He did. It's northwest of our position.
It seems to be a turtle of some size. Like, I don't know. Pretty big. You know?
Is that to scale? So it's like about
And then I'm trying,
Okay.
I'm trying
10
to get
feet
it
on the side or
I'm trying to get it
15
to
feet
scale.
on the side?
there. That's the scale, yes. Alright, so it's a very large something moving around in the water that you can see. Alright? Further, its movements, the movements of this thing suggest that, and you don't see its head, by the way, but it suggests that you see the tops of its shell, which has like green stuff growing on it and moss hanging off of it and stuff like that. But it's swimming, or it's swimming, but it also seems to be walking, right? You also notice that was someone with a 20 perception notices that it's walking. Okay, anyone with a 22 also notices the fact that there are a cloud of small gulls flying around it sporadically. They're sometimes near it, sometimes away from it. Anyone rolling a 24 or more notices that there are actually some fins of sharks swimming around it. Anyone notices with rolling a 26 or higher, which is down to just Adelaide at this point, notices that all the way up to the northwest, where that little boat is, there's actually a guy standing on shore and waving his arms at you. Okay, so Adelaide, you see that. Okay, and anyone rolling a 28 or more actually hears him yelling also, even over the sound of the moderate surf and the gulls and everything else that's going on. So his voice is carrying over quite a distance.
What is he yelling?
You don't actually hear specifically what he's yelling. You just think he's trying to get your attention.
Okay.
Okay. But looking at him, he seems to be doing some pretty bizarre gyrations. Okay. So 1 second, and I will get to that
I
part.
will do those gyrations.
Yes. Hang on. No, I'll show you what he is doing.
I'm turning my camera on.
Yes, and this will be
Yeah.
charades. I'm actually going to turn my camera on. That is correct. All right, let's see if it can work here. I don't see where the control is for that anymore. Video and audio. There we go. Okay, so I will say Roll20.
I don't think I allowed video or audio on mine.
I think it's a campaign choice at first, and we will go from there. But it's the avatar. My avatar will come through with that once I do it. So 1 second.
Roll20 just restarted.
You still have to set to receive it though, and you've got to change your video and avatar size.
Yep. Okay,
So
so
everybody else's Roll20 just restart?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's changing the settings. On
yes, I'm changing the settings,
Got it.
so that's why I
Mine did
restarted.
not.
Okay, so everybody should. Okay, do you see me now?
No.
Nope.
No, you're no longer in our session.
Okay, so everybody
He's in
reconnect.
mine.
Everybody hit F5 and reconnect.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave and come back.
My planar transport is opening.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I've got Alvin and Robert's icons overlapping each other on mine.
Yeah, they do, and this is something I've written to Roll20 about, and they, of course, have not chosen to fix it. So there's nothing I can do about that, sadly.
Yeah, so Calvin's icon is covering you up.
That's what I see.
Okay, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be like on my screen. I see Calvin's icon is only covering the name portion of my avatar, not any of the rest of it.
No, it's covering all of it. It's probably going to require you to back at this point, Robert.
It depends on what you've got your player video avatar size to.
Okay, yes. Player video avatar should be.
If you go to small, you'll see mostly of Robert's face. I'm
Yeah, I
stone.
still
I'm
don't.
turning to stone.
Wait a second. Where is that listed? Avatar size. I had it on small on mine.
I have it on small.
Yeah, it's yeah. I really don't think it's going to work until.
Let me try this then.
Set your player video avatar location to top,
Yeah, I just did that.
and that actually
Yeah, that does it.
syncs them.
That works.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you can at least see my
I don't
game
see
of
it.
charades. Okay. So, all right. So the guy is doing stuff, and you can roll an insight check if you want to, but he's basically doing this. He's going like So
I can't see you.
It's
It's
hard
all
for me to do.
Calvin's
Okay.
still in front of you.
He's doing this with his hands, and then he's also doing this. He's like indicating something in the round, like wax on, wax off sort of motion. It's hard for me to do this with the camera. Let's see.
John, set the under chat avatars the second thing that says player video avatar location. Set it to top.
Yeah.
Where do I do that?
Under your settings, under your little gear, top right hand corner.
Okay.
Scroll down till you see game settings. Then under that, you'll see chat avatars.
Okay.
The second drop down, set it to top.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay, so you see him.
Gotcha.
He is going through a series of gyrations. All right. Does everybody see me now?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a glorious Friday night.
That's right. Exactly. He's doing this, and then he's doing this, and then he does this. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah. Yours still just looks like a kingfisher to me, but whatever.
Okay, so you also have to change.
Yeah, you've got something else you've got to change. Go back in that settings, go
And
down all the way to the bottom.
I want to
where it says,
receive
I
from
want
others.
to receive from others. Set it to video only.
That's right.
Okay. I've got it set to video only and then reconnect.
Yeah.
Yep,
reconnect.
that's right.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, just tell us when you see it, John.
And you can broadcast to each other if you really want us to see you.
I have
Actually, I'm not sure I have
broadcast.
a
It's now
camera.
reloading. Yeah, it's still doing the same for me, even with those settings changed. So I'll just not see it. It'll be okay.
Okay, so yeah, also where it says, does you have one that says video input source, and also I want to broadcast to others.
Yes, I put
Okay.
nothing for broadcast to others, and video only for receive from others.
Okay, try. What about video input source? Do you have that one?
Yeah,
Okay, or oh no, that one.
there's nothing in the pull down from it.
Yeah, that. doesn't
Yeah,
make
you
any
you
difference.
shouldn't have to have anything there. Did you disconnect just a second ago and come back, or did you just refresh?
Yes. I F5 refreshed.
I think you probably have to leave and come.
Okay, I'll exit and come back.
That's bizarre. Anyway.
Anyway, I don't have to see it. It'll be fine. I'll just accept
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You
I
can
just
figure it out.
Okay, so the pattern that he goes through, he seems to be pointing, which is he points in the direction that is I'm as if you were seeing him. So he's pointing to the east, and then he does this, and then he does this.
Half your movements are off the screen.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now. I'm taking time. You know, you got to wait for me to, like, I have to figure out my own look to the camera. But you see me now, right? You see me holding a fist up and doing this.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
he
he's
wants
saying,
us
go
to
around
sail
something.
to the east. Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay. And then he also does a motion like this, and seems to be
Calm
indicating
water.
stuff around here. And then he does this. All right. Y'all see me?
Crosses his arms.
Yep. Okay. Now, if you can make of that what you will, but you can also roll an insight check if you wish.
I rolled 17.
Okay, a 17. Okay, well, you're pretty sure that he's trying to give you directions.
Yeah.
All right.
It sounds like he's saying, go east, calmer water,
And at a
maybe death headed is where he's headed.
okay,
Is where
so
we're headed.
did anyone
I think
roll?
that was just maybe stop. Go around to the east, get to the calm water, and stop.
Yes, his first
could be.
the first thing he
Avoid
did.
turning.
The first thing he did was this, right?
Yeah.
which is basically looks like he's trying to say stop. So that at a 17, you get that motion probably means for you to stop coming the way you're coming. Okay, and then he also at a 17, you realize that when he points to the east and does the vertical things, he is actually trying to indicate the large rock shelf, which you should be able to see on the map. Okay, and that's about all that you can understand via insight, just by
Is that the stuff that's outlined almost due north of us?
Let's see where you are. It's a little bit to the west of you, I think, but yes. Yes. Yeah. You see that there is, like, if you look at all of the rocks that you can see, which I don't know if you can see the color tones on the maps, but the rocky parts are gray. The yellow part is sandy beach areas, and there's some greenery where, like, low grass and maybe even a small palm tree or something like that is still trying to grow. But over here to the north of you, where you are right now, is actually a significantly large rock structure, and also he is standing on one. He is standing on a significantly large rock structure. When I say significantly large, it maybe goes up 40 or 50 feet above the sea level, right?
Is that what the fog of war area is then? Like, or we're just seeing black out here?
Yes, there's things blocking you. That's why you can't see past it.
Yeah,
okay,
I understand.
So the thing to the north up here, the rock. There's a rock ledge, and I will draw on the map now. Like this whole area here, right, is rocky. Do you see where I did the pink brace bracket right there? That whole area there, and it steps up from the west to the east. It gets taller and taller, and if you'll notice on the map there's a 12 on the highest part. So that part is 60, 70 feet high. So there's a very large rock wall that is up there at that point. So you can see that part of it, and obviously you see this thing. And by the way, this thing here, it moves around. It's over here now, right?
Is this where the guy is standing, like right above your brace?
No, the guy is
standing
standing
way up in the northwest
way
corner.
off. You see the boat way up there to the northwest, way up there.
Yeah, okay, sorry, yeah.
And I don't even have a token for him, but he's out there. There's a dude who's waving up, and most people on the boat with y'all can't even see him. Adelaide and the other people who rolled reasonable perception, I think it's a 15, just to notice that there's a boat up there, and I think it's a 20 or more to notice it, or 22 or more to notice that there's a dude trying to give you instructions. But anyway, yeah, someone did roll well enough. So it's 24.
Urgent does point out the giant turtle and the boat to everybody. He doesn't know he's missing anything else, but
Yeah. Adeline actually says, and there's a guy up there that's telling us to go around the east side, like the water is calmer, and to kind of stop there. Like we should probably come ashore there.
Okay.
yeah, I think we have to. I mean,
Do we want
role-playing
to
honesty,
trust
we
the
have to go on
island
her
people
interpretation.
who have been raiding us?
I don't know, but I certainly don't want to get near that gigantic turtle that is either a predator or there's something big enough that eats those things around here.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. So people, I mean, there.
That turtle doesn't go underwater.
When I include a description of things,
It has its own ecosystem with it.
as a game master, I will not, from this point on in the campaign, I will not be just suggesting that you think about them. And I do not do passive roles. So you have to say, what do I know about this or that that you see in the scene? And you have to ask questions. That helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
Well, I will attempt to keep an eye on the turtle.
Okay.
Does Adeline know anything about giant sea turtles?
Okay, well, roll a nature check.
That would be a 20.
A 20. Okay, so Yes. Okay. So there are creatures that match this turtle's description, from what you can tell. Okay, and there's dozens of different varieties of ocean-going turtles that would potentially match this description that you've heard of, and they're all referred to as great shells. Great shells.
Okay.
Okay.
So, looking at the turtle, what does its face look like?
Okay, if you remember from before, I mentioned that
So
you do not
the head's
see
underwater.
its head.
But I keep watching it. I'm assuming its face will come above the water at some point, and when it does, I want to
Okay.
observe its face.
All right, so that's a good call. So y'all wait around and intentionally watch it. Okay, so now roll a luck roll, and you want to get something that's a 12 or higher, just to see if you have a shot.
Do the Pendrathians hunt these things?
I mean, you think the Pendrathians hunt everything. I mean, the Mandrakins. The Mandrakins hunt
Sorry,
everything.
yes, the Mandrakins.
16.
Okay, so you're going to have a shot at seeing its head. In other words, its head is going to come up at some point. Now you need to roll, for the people who are looking, actively looking, can roll a perception
25
check.
on my perception check.
Okay, you did see it. Okay, so you see it, and you're going like, wow, that is definitely unusual. Because when it pulls its head out of the water, it is covered with, first of all, it has something you would not expect to have seen, a long and sinuous neck with rows and rows of strange-looking scales and fins all over the neck, and a very large head with a sort of a lizard-like looking face on it. So roll Arcana check.
Okay. $22.
22. All right, so you think that this is probably a dragon turtle. Probably.
Okay, it looks to me like this is a dragon turtle, so I think that is something we should definitely avoid.
Now you've only heard that they exist. That roll indicates you know almost nothing else about them. So,
I know big thing named a dragon turtle is something we should avoid.
okay, so if
I
anybody
think
else,
anything that is being circled by a big pool of sharks is something to avoid too.
okay, so if anybody else would like to roll Arcana, they can. But I think the only one who might even have a decent shot
This is
at
a
it
here.
is Zahir. So 1 second, let me roll for Zahir. And
Adeline rolls a 19.
she has Arcana.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Can't
really
be a witch if
it's
can't be a witch.
yeah, it's pretty unusual. You probably will not have Arcana when the new skill system comes out. Just letting you know.
Okay.
That would
Well,
be,
I will not get used to it then. I'll
that-
change it to something else.
yeah, that would be extremely weird. Okay, so but Zahir happens to know something about dragon turtles. He says yes. Okay, so but let me roll his perception check. He says, who rolled the perception? Amon did. Okay, so Amon, do you remember what I just said? Because he actually,
It has a long, sinuous neck with scales and fins coming off of it, and a
okay,
very large lizard-like head.
okay, so you need to roll an insight check for memory. You need a 15 because he asked you this question, and I did say the answer. He says,
Let him ask me the question and see if I remember it.
yes, exactly. So he says, does it have brightly colored fins and scales, or are they sort of dull and greenish and base flat colors?
When you told it to me, Robert,
Yes.
you said lots of fins and scales. You did not indicate color.
Okay. So roll your insight check. Okay. So you're not sure, but I'm going to give you a bonus because you think you would have remembered if it had some blazing colors on it. You don't think it did.
Okay, no, I don't think it had very bright colors.
Okay, so he says, well, in that case, it's probably a female, and They're less aggressive, which is good, unless they're in a nesting territory, which is, possible. In which case, they're fiercely territorial about their nesting space. But males are even known to be so aggressive and crazy that they will attack ships as potential gray shell rivals. So they're not that bright. And he says that they're also they're known to be the product of an aquatic dragon that mated with a normal great shell turtle. So that's how these creatures are made, and they're fairly rare. So it's very unusual to have seen one. So anyway.
So she's probably protecting a nesting site, and we do need to go up and around and give her a wide berth.
Yeah, okay. So what do you guys do?
I intend to go. I think we should go east around the promontory over here.
Okay. So unless there's any other
fine with
decision,
that.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you're not cool with that plan, speak up. And I'm going to change the location of the avatars again for me anyway. I don't know if it changes them for you. Okay. So you guys head in that direction, and it turns out to be not that big of a deal. You head off to allowing the current to push you to the east, which is a little bit unusual in terms of your ultimate decisions because you're trying to go to the west. But as soon as you clear this area, you do hit one place where there is this massive current, okay? And you need to blast past it. So I need athletics rolls from whoever wants to try to contribute. And if you're not trying to contribute, i.e. you don't make a roll, then you don't have to be included in the fumble failure section of the thing. So that was weird.
Oh, both my characters are good at it, so I think they will both attempt it.
Okay.
Both mine are at least trained, so
Death gets an 11. Erden gets a crit 29.
Okay. 2, 3. Ardell.
Amon gets a 19, but my rolls for athletics are kind of jacked up. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell that you rolled a 19 on the roll. So
that should be +6.
Okay, so 24 then. Okay, so 1, 2.
That would be 25,
3.
actually.
Okay, so 3. And what is that other one? Is that for her?
Yes.
Okay, so she rolled a natural 1 that is not a fumble, but it is a fumble just by number. Okay, so of the people that rolled, there are 1.
Calvin rolled
2,
a 24.
Yes, there are 3 successes and there are 2.
Critical successes.
No, there are 2 fumbles. There's only 1 critical success, and that's Erden. So Erden cancels one of the fumbles, and there's a net of, 3 successes and 1 fumble. So that's a net 2 successes. All right, so who fumbled? It was Nuri, right?
Nuri.
Okay, so Nuri made a fumble. So now I need to determine what
She
that
rolled
fumble
a
is.
3 on it.
Okay, so roll a luck roll. On 1 through 5, something pretty rough is going to happen, but anything higher than that, it's just going to be something minor. Okay, so you managed to cause her actual trouble. All right, so we will do it this way. 1 second. All right, so she falls out of the boat. Rowing, they hit a big wave, smashes over them, and she'll
Amon
fall
will
out of the
attempt
boat.
to grab her quickly before she falls over.
You're not going to be able to do that. She falls out of the boat. Hang on a second. Let me get situated here. I got to get a thing out.
I really want to know how you got us upside down.
Just rotating the group. You can rotate yourself right side up if you want to.
I just wondered.
Yeah, I did a copy paste and then I rotated the whole group. But I'm having trouble finding the thing that I want to find. Let's see. Maybe it's in session 1. Yes, it is.
I don't see where you rotate yourself.
The little point, it's the exact same color as the water, so it's hard to see. But off of the top of your token is a little
Got it.
stick. Yeah, there you go.
All right. So for right now, we are going to. All right, we are going to assume that and you can rotate yourself if that bothers you. All right. So Nuri, roll a D3. 1 is the worst.
She had already rolled the fumble roll associated with it and got a 3, by the way.
I know. I'm just trying to. This is an additional roll. Okay, so the best situation. Okay, so all right, so close. All right, so you're gonna be. You fall
Did
out
you
of
do
the-
try an acrobatics check or something like that to grab hold before she falls out, before she gets completely separated?
No, the fumble is the falling over. So you fall over. It's only a question of what we do subsequent to that we're gonna deal with. Okay, so so now we are in an initiative sort of situation, and anyone that wants to can roll an initiative. So see, of my NPCs, certainly Angus might need an initiative.
Ardeth definitely does.
Okay, so go ahead and use your initiative macro to put yourself on the turn order. All right, and Madark will probably not need to do anything. He will assume people will handle it on that side. Okay, and then because it's going to be a fun moment, we will put this guy on here. Second.
How high are the waves here?
The waves can be up to 6 feet, so the boat gets rocked around pretty heavy.
All right.
But not every. It's like they come in sets, so not every. You're close to shore here, so not everything is going to be just a massive ocean-going wave. All right,
So like 3 to 6 or 4 to 6.
right, it's for this size vessel, it can handle a 6-foot wave. It's just that you get rocked around a lot. Okay, so 1 second. I gotta figure out how to do this. I think it's already in there. Let me make sure it is. Nope, it didn't have its bonuses applied. All right, so I don't know why that would be the case. It's kind of annoying. It has a +2, and it is that level, so +0. All right, so it should get 2 points higher than that. Well, I just said it. All right, so this one, you do notice that you have seen some sharks around the area, but they don't appear to be very large or very whatever. All right, so Ardeth, it is your turn. What do you do?
I jump in the water and I yell, Erden, I'm bringing her to you. I intend to land there,
Okay.
holding the side of the boat with my left hand,
Okay.
grabbing her with my right hand, and pulling her towards the boat.
Okay, so we'll say an athletics roll of 16 will allow you to jump in the water and still just hold on with your hand. And then, so roll for that first.
Okay, if there's any sort of daily luck power in this
Oh.
game, I'm using it.
Okay, so, and then if you get 4 points higher than that, if you get a 20, then you're able to do everything you're doing at no minuses. Okay, so you've got a little bit of a minus in terms of your trying to grab her. So roll your -2 grab attack on Nuri.
And is that just like a melee basic attack?
Yes.
Okay, so I am attacking. I got that. I just never done it before. So
Yeah,
I'm
as
gonna
a
be sure.
standard action, you attack. So that's a move action to jump off the boat. Really, it's only a minor to do what's called a hop down. So you do a hop down, then you do a melee basic. Okay, so a 14, and that you did not include the mod, so the -2
No, I
mod
didn't.
makes it a 12. All right, so her basic would be,
But she's not trying to avoid it.
right. I understand. It's just that she's getting knocked around by the waves, so that counts for something too. All right, so I'm going to say, I'm going to give it an arbitrary value of a 14, and that is going to be, the first attempt is going to be a miss. All right, so
Can I
yes, your
action
luck roll.
surge and go again?
Well, you asked for a luck roll, so just
Oh, okay.
roll. I don't have all that set up, but we'll say if you roll a 15 or higher on a d20, that you get a lucky scenario out of this.
Okay.
It's
That
definitely going to
seems
be
fair.
at least +2, and that would do it for you.
Nope.
Okay, so you burned your encounter luck. There's one roll for encounter and one roll for daily.
Okay.
So the reason the daily exists is so that you can do 2 in 1 combat if you want to.
That makes sense.
All right. So you tried to get lucky, and that one you were unable to. Okay, so Amon, it's you.
Is there any rope near me in the boat?
Well, I was actually asking, can I use an action point to go again? Is that how they work?
Yes, an action point is lets you have another standard action.
Then I try one more time to use her, and I use my action point.
Okay.
So I try again to grab her.
Okay.
Melee basic attack again. Use my target. Modifier is still -2.
That's right.
And I would hit a 14 with a -2.
Okay, so you miss because with the -2 you put that in there.
Yeah, I
this time.
got it. The -2's
Okay.
in there.
Yeah, okay, so you barely grab hold of her. You've got a tentative hold on her, and she is grabbed. So that means, Nuri, you are... Yeah, you've got the little grabby fist thing on you.
I know I'm driving you crazy, but I have fast hands and a
Right.
minor action I haven't used. Can I go ahead and pull her towards the boat?
Roll another athletics check, and if you get a 16, you're able to improve your grip on her. If you get an 18, you're able to actually scoot her 1.
Nope,
Okay,
I roll a 9.
So not in this case, but you've still got her grab. All
Okay,
right.
I've got her. I'm
Um,
done. Thank you.
Calvin. I mean, sorry,
I'm actually
Amon.
next.
Amon.
It looks like he's got that handled. I'm going to shoot a magic missile at that shark that I see.
Okay. Yep, there's one shark on the surface of the water. Okay, you definitely hit him. And that is, he has a, I don't know what his reflex is. We'll look at it.
Well, I got a 22. I'm assuming it won't be better than that.
I know, you hit him. I'm just checking for the critical. Okay, so he has a 12 reflex. All right, so that is a
So
critical
critical
hit.
then.
So you did 12 points of damage to him. All right, and he is bloodied. Okay.
So hopefully that means any nearby sharks will go for him rather than her.
All right. So Nuri herself
We'll try and use the grip our death has on her to pull
wait.
herself towards the boat.
I'm staying one behind. Calvin is next. Sorry.
All right. Calvin looks around, realizes they're in the. Calvin's going to stay and make sure the boat doesn't get rocked too much because I don't think he's going to be very effective doing anything else.
Yeah. Okay. So just roll.
So
an
he's going to make
athletics.
sure he just kind of leans the other way.
Roll an athletics check, and you're trying to give Nuri a bonus to get by you're using the boat to block the waves. Okay,
29.
good job. Okay, so you're very effective in moving the boat to block the waves so that Nuri has a calm ocean anyway. We're right where she is to jump up on the boat. Okay, say Nuri.
So is it athletics or acrobatics or the better of those to try and use Ardeth's grip on me and move myself to the boat and climb back in?
It's athletics, and essentially, Ardeth's trying to help you with his grab. He's not trying to hurt you, and also Calvin's roll helped you out as well. So you have +4 for this roll.
Oh,
Oh my Jesus!
Okay,
stop
so
squirming, girl.
so even with the +4, the natural one is still a by 8 fumble on what you need.
But I
So
rolled a 3 on the fumble die.
that's right, but it's a forced fumble. It's a distance of 8 fumble. So
I thought that was the point of the D3 afterward.
no, it can still be a fumble. You can still roll so poorly that you just numerically get to be a fumble. So in this case, we got to determine what it's going to be. Okay, so I'll let you roll a saving throw, and if you fail, then Ardeth can decide to take some damage and hold on to you anyway. So, and you'll probably take the damage too. But roll a saving throw. So a wave comes and knocks you free. So Ardeth is going to try to hold on to you. All right. So Ardeth, you're trying to pull Nuri in, and a wave smacks her. You feel like you have several choices. You can like let go of the boat and go with her and just hold her, or you can just pull on her and you think you might actually hurt her and yourself doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that second thing where I
Okay.
hurt us.
Okay, so
You could let go of her too.
so roll a luck roll, and if
I
you
considered that.
and you can also make me an acrobatics roll, and this is to try and you're trying to sort of figure out the force of the wave and how to roll with it. That's why it's acrobatics. Okay, so 11.
Can she
All right,
do
so-
an acrobatics roll as well?
No, this is only him. He's the decision maker here. All right, so you are trying to pull her in, and you can't figure out how to juke with the wave, so it's just got to be main force. So now it's a luck roll as to how bad it happens to be. A 1 or a 2 is the worst. 3, 4, 5, 6 is the second. And then same pattern. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is the third category, and then anything above a 14 is really lucky.
That's a low one.
Okay, so that's in the second worst group. Okay, so that would be a D10. D10 damage to you and her, both. So roll that D10. It's just 1. So 4 points of damage to you and 4 points to her. All right,
Okay.
Not a big deal. You hurt her, you hurt yourself, but in the process you hang on to her, which is still obviously quite beneficial.
She has only had a move action so far, so
Yes.
does she get to still try and...
No, I understand. Okay, so what happens is that damage happens, and then yes, you can try again if you would like.
So can I use acrobatics in any way? Because I'm much better at that.
No, you're trying to swim to the boat. You're not trying to flow necessarily in this case. So you need to roll your athletics again, and just not roll a freaking 1 this time. You're still +4 because of Calvin's maneuvering of the boat and the fact that Ardeth is still hanging on to you. Okay, so you managed to make a 4, which is not an automatic fumble because of the math anymore. So at least you're not in fumble territory, but you don't make any progress. All right, coming to the sand shark. This sand shark runs away because it got hit for almost all of its hit points, and it doesn't like that. But we roll a luck roll to see if another sand shark is now curious. Only on a 1 or a 2. Of course, a 1. It's roll 20. I'm counting on my 1s, you know. Good stuff happens with roll 20.
I want to swap to Runecrest.
Yeah, seriously.
Where 1s are good. Is that the thing? All right. So
Well,
the
when you
southern,
hit, yes. What it really means is we're all gonna be leg crushers.
so the southern sand shark goes at the same time, just to make things fun. And it's going to come over here and do its little thing. Oh, wait a minute. Now I know I don't have it attached to the sand shark. Okay. That's just thrilling. Sand shark. Shark sand. Okay, save. All right, now, so it comes over there and it tries to nibble on Nuri. Nibble. All right, so it's attacking the lowest score of your armor class, fortitude, or reflex.
That'll be
That's
fort.
just-
That'll be fortitude? What's Nuri's fortitude?
Nuri's fortitude is 13.
Okay, so it manages to chomp you with a nibble, and it does 9 points of damage. All right, and doesn't do anything else, does it? Oh, hit, push target in one in a random direction. Okay, so
Maybe it'll
athletics.
push me to the boat.
Athletics roll for well, I mean, I think that Ardeth is going to try and hang on to you regardless and prevent that. So roll, if you get a 20 on your athletics roll, you can prevent 1, and then 23 would be 2, and then so on and so forth. So it's just pushing
Just
1.
any bonuses? Any bonuses? Any modifiers?
This is Ardeth, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to Nuri.
No, she can't she can't pull herself
understand.
away, you know. She gets pushed, but you can do it. Okay, so you are not able to stop it. So now the question is what direction? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. D8. It pushes you in the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay. Well, as fate would have it, it does indeed push you into Ardeth Square, and you're both squeezed now. Okay. So Angus is not really in the best position to help, but
Yeah, I think Erden is going to have to join the order at the end here.
Angus he has melee weapons. He's not a missileer, so he also cannot really, he reaches out with his hand axe to try and see if he can reach the shark, and he just can't reach it. So, enough said. Adeline?
Adeline will, as a minor action, draw a totem. And the shark is not where I can see it, so she's going to look for the
Yeah.
shark as a move
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, it is. It's right there on the surface.
I don't see it.
Well, that's a problem with your roll 20 because it's on there. It's on there.
It's 2 spaces. It's right off the east side of the boat.
Yeah, you're not. You
All right.
would see it. So if you don't see it, it's because your roll 20's messed up.
And I'm
All right.
pinging it.
All right, I will psychic curse the shark.
Okay.
Is there any modifiers here? I'm above it and it's underwater, so is
No.
that a -1?
No, it's on the surface. It's on the surface, so it's no modifier. It's right there. I mean, it might be a foot deep, but that's on the surface. Oh, you're actually in the air above it too. You're on the high castle, so you get +1.
So that'd be a 9 will.
9 versus will. It might not have the best will in the world. Let me see. Shark Sand. Its will is 11.
So I miss.
Okay, you miss it. All right. Ardeth.
And I'm going to put Erden, I'm going to roll him an initiative roll. He decides he's got to participate, so
Okay. All
he's
right,
joining
so
the order.
he's joining the fray. Okay, and
Yeah.
he's joining it at 4. That's lovely. Okay.
That's fine. He decided he was best just rowing the boat. He knew he wasn't jumping in.
Yep. Okay, so
Um,
Ardeth still has her grab. You're actually squeezed, but that's kind of what you wanted anyway. You
Yeah.
think you can probably pick her up out of the water and throw her onto the boat almost.
That's pretty much what I want to do. I'm
Okay.
my goal is to make sure she ends up in the boat this turn, even at my own peril.
Okay, so that's an athletics roll. We're going to say an 18 is you might hurt her. Okay, a 20 is you're going to get her up there with no trouble. So that's okay. So you just kind of like lift her up out of the water into the boat, and the boat goes down on that side. You're holding on, no big deal. She is in the boat. Okay, now that's only a move action. Okay, so you can spend your standard as another move action. But because you've already done that, you're going to be at -3. So you need a 21 to get yourself up with maybe taking a little bit of damage, and a 22 with no damage. I mean, a 21 and a, what did I say the other? It was 2 points higher. So 21, 23.
Yeah, it was 22 is what you'd
Yeah.
20 and a 22 or what you called before.
Now it's 3, so it'd be 21 and 23. So yeah,
Right.
you beat it
Into
significantly before.
my seat, the boat, so I can click my token. She's on top of me.
Oh, sorry.
That's
That's
put her
normally
in
a
my
good thing.
chair, if you would. Yeah,
Yeah.
I threw her wherever. Okay, so now I can click my token and I can use these buttons
Yeah.
without having to go to the character sheet.
Okay.
There's a 26.
All right, so you hop into the boat, no problem, and so much for that. Okay, so the little shark swims around, but nothing left in the water. Okay, so you recover from the fumble, and y'all paddle around the edge of that cliff. Okay, so let me do this. Move your whole cluster of tokens here, and we will get that done. So you actually do find out that past this section of rock up here, there is a sort of a sucking current that goes back to the west, and that's once you're past that blast to the that's pushing you east. So that's a pretty rough.
We are lost in the fog of war now.
I know. I'm moving you. I'll get you there.
As we're coming ashore, Adeline's going to summon her spirit.
Okay, you summon your spirit. All right, so one moment. I will show you what you see. As y'all are coming up to the shore, you see that it's just one guy, and he also has, there's 4 other guys standing on the rock next to the boat. That one of them does have a bow out, but it's not like aiming at y'all. All right, let's see.
I look to see what it is aiming at.
Well, I mean, he's just got
I think
it
he's
out.
just holding it.
Yes,
is what he means.
he's very casually holding a bow. All right, so let's see. You're able to approach it, and you also see this. You see that they have a ship, and you couldn't see the ship because it was behind some rocks before. So that's why I didn't show you. If we had active lighting, it would have been covered by the rocks on the thing. Okay, now let me show you where y'all are. So y'all approach from this side. So y'all are here, and basically, I mean, it doesn't matter. Will 1 second. Oh, it's this side. Okay, there we go. All right.
When we can finally see these people from kind of up close,
Yeah,
do they have tattoos like the Hanes that were making trouble for us?
Okay, hang on 1 second, and I will tell you. I didn't. This is the part where I didn't put their tokens on the map. So, so let me do that for 1 second. You see 4 Hanes over here, and I'm not going to bother with you making perception checks, but basically you don't see anything that looks like that. Like they don't seem to have those darkened tattoos. Okay? Here's the guy with the bow, right? He's up on this rock ledge 15 feet higher than the rest, right? All right, and then there is the guy that you did see in the first place. And who will that be? That'll be this guy. All right, so he was over here on this point where y'all could see him, right? Okay, so this is the point at which you tell me if you're doing anything other than, rowing your boat to the rock. Right?
I'm keeping a very close eye on them. If they show any signs of hostility, I will kill them with magic.
All
Are all 5 of them Hanes?
All 5 of them are Hanes. Yes, they are.
Any tribal markings?
That is a good question. No tribal markings. They do not appear to be clansmen. They are city Hanes.
Okay.
So I take it
Are they
then there
dressed
is
like our sort of Hanes, or are they dressed like more like the New World people?
well, this guy comes up to you, comes up to this side over here, and he's like, "Welcome, welcome," in Hainish, of course, he's speaking. And then, by the way, on the little boat there, there's two guys on the boat. Didn't bother indicating that, right? The boat that y'all sail past. All right. So you guys come up to the rock, and the waves are smashing against the rock, of course. He says, well done, well done. I didn't know if you saw me or not at first."
Adeline
We
just
almost
nods. Directions were quite good.
Excellent, excellent. Well, he says, this is such a quandary. I can't see my key without putting that into the session. All right, let me switch to my laptop for a second. Y'all still see my visual? I changed it to not broadcast, but it probably won't.
I only see the Kingfisher.
I minimized
We
it
see
a while
you.
ago.
You still see me? Okay, all right.
I still see you, yeah, but
Yeah, that's just for
if
the
you've
record.
made a change, it won't change for me, I think, until you disconnect and come back.
Yeah, okay, so that's just for the record for me asking the question. I just wanted to know. All right, so I guess
I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll do the same.
Perfect time for it anyway, so.
Anybody else there? Hello?
Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Now I have my site up on this other laptop. Well, let's see if it logs in. Of course not. There we go. Alright. Come on. And story key. Apologize for the delay. Alright. So, Mike, are you back? Okay, so Mike's not back yet. We'll wait a second for him to get back, and then we'll continue. So yeah, there's 5 Hanes total here, and they look pretty
Well,
rough.
7 if we include them on the boat, right?
Yeah, 7 including the 2 that are on the boat, and the 2 on the boat also have bows. There's 1 bowman here, but this guy does appear to be a fairly well-to-do dressed Hane, the one that was waving at you, and the one that is, you know, I will try to label him. Let's see if I can label him. So,
I'm back.
okay, welcome back. All right, so he introduces himself. He says, "I'm glad that you were able to see me, and that you avoided the wash there and the turtle, whatever it is. But did you see the wash? Did you see the current into the rock formation over there?"
I don't believe we did.
Okay. Well, he says, "Come here a second." And, you guys are able to disembark your boat and get out on this little island if you wish to. Do you do so?
Our death
Adeline, she
definitely
says
does.
Adeline is going to look at them and just kind of
Both.
gaze how they're standing,
Right. Okay,
or gauge how they're standing, whether or not how.
so roll an insight check. Okay, so you think that all of these men are incredibly alert and wary and ready to act on a moment's notice. And you think that this guy, he introduces himself. He says, I am Tim Sussy. Tim Sussy. And I was actually captain of the Brood Arch, which is was one of the ships of the migration. He says, we fell upon hard times and have actually become grounded on one of the islands out here in the Sea of Death. And I don't know what it's actually called, but that's what I call it, the Sea of Death. Sea of Death.
Have you seen other Hanes that perhaps were tattooed?
We have not seen any other Hanes that were tattooed. We did see a ship that looked very strange that we still assumed was one of the ships of the migration pass a few days ago, and that's why we came out here looking for it. And he gives you a general description of the ship, and you're absolutely certain that it's the Pixie Trough. And so you know that the Pixie Trough is the reason he brought his little fishing vessel or whatever it is out here. And by the way, this ship that he's got here, it looks like they made it, like they created it. This one over here that has the two bowmen on it.
Yeah, the little sailboat.
Yeah, it looks like they have built it here without very good stuff.
Tell him he doesn't want to go anywhere near the Pixie Trough.
He said it looked like a strange ship. He didn't remember seeing it as a part of the migration, but it did look relatively Mandrican, so he assumed it was part of the migration. So anyway, and he looks at your. Let's see. He would need an insight check of 22. Which he might well make. Okay, so he looks at your ship and your little boat there, and he goes like, and it had very similar side boats to this that you're traveling in.
Nearly identical.
It's very similar. So anyway,
that's what our death says.
he says, okay, so why don't you guys come with me? And he walks down the shoreline of this rocky area here, and he goes all the way to here. So if anyone's following him, they can follow. Okay, so Amon follows him. Actually, Angus follows him. Ephraim stays in the boat. Madark climbs ashore. So Ray can't speak for his characters right now. Since he went, I'm going to assume he at least comes ashore.
Burden is staying with the boat.
Okay.
Because he believes he's most capable of just keeping it here and not letting it shatter on these rocks.
Yes, and Zahir just scoffs and says, I will not be getting onto this rock for no apparent reason, since we are obviously going to have to get back in the boat. Thank you very much. And so the rest of you that go around the corner, Ardeth and Amon, you look to the east, and you see this over here in this section. You see this rock area, and the current, the like massive current, is just blasting a giant wave into this wall and just smashing things. I mean, so you know.
Were you meant to uncover something? Because I'm not seeing anything.
Yes, if you zoom out on the map, you can see now the inside of that promontory that you went around. That rock outcropping, not promontory.
Dang it.
Okay, so I will. Yeah, it's way over here to the. It's not pinging for some reason. Hang on, I don't have the right. There we go. See where I pinged?
No, do it again. I've got the whole map.
In the middle of that little kind of crescent of rock there?
Yes, yes. Okay, so all the way over to the right side of your screen, where the one you went on the outside of it to the east, you all sailed around.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. Okay.
But the current is literally blasting away this rock over time.
Yeah.
And it's crashing into this stuff, and it's sending spume way up into the air. And just on the top, it's hard to see if you're not on the inside of it. So you couldn't really see even spume, much from the other side. But it was just blasting into this thing, and you think that if you had taken your little ship inside there, you just
wouldn't have a little ship.
It would all be smashed to pieces and dead. And that was a potentially campaign ending, not campaign ending, but character killing moment right there. So y'all avoided that and got around. Luckily, Adelaide's extreme perception check that gave you a lot more clues. It pretty much 29 captured every clue but one in the perception game. So which you would expect that it would. So anyway, you see the death that you avoided. Tim tells you that. He says, I was captain of the Brood Arch, another ship of the Migration. And we've been we've been there for some time now. So how recently did you guys arrive from the curse?
I've only been here a couple of days. Some of these guys have been here a little longer.
But that's when your ship came out of the curse?
That's right. That's right.
I see.
Yes.
I see. He says, yes, what we've been able to conjecture about this situation is that the curse is releasing people at random times, like depending on how far ahead you were in the progression. Like the ships that left first seem to be arriving first, and then we had one sister ship with us, and they made it past the mall on the northern side, and we got shunted to the southern side, which we're not supposed to do. And so now we're in the sea of death instead of the whatever the other sea would be on the other side of that island wall where the maw is. So anyway,
where are we relative to our camp?
You guys are pretty far to the east, like a mile, maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles to the east, and maybe a mile or two north as well.
So we basically went
45
exactly
degree
the
angle.
opposite direction as far as east-west, as far as we wanted to go.
Yes, exactly. And you were striving the whole time to find a current back to the west, and you had not been able to find it.
Okay. Is there a current that heads towards the west from here that we could get into? We were trying to make our way to a different island.
He says, yes, in fact, there is. If you proceed north of here, there are several gaps in the otherwise completely eastwardly push of the currents around the maw. He says the maw draws them all in. Eventually, you will hit an easterly current. You won't be able to get very far to the west. But there are some currents that go back to the west, in particular one up around one of the islands. But you don't want to go there because there's some very dangerous people, Haines, I guess, that were here before, and they've turned to criminal behavior, and they're pirates. They've killed at least one longboat of my people and taken everything they had.
How large a group of them are there?
It's a sizable island. I'm not exactly sure, because once we lost that longboat, we knew where they went, and we've scouted it since then, so we know they're the ones that took them. We actually see their longboat is being used by these people, so we assume they're either dead or imprisoned.
Did you see perhaps another boat like this heading in that direction that might have been taken by those pirates?
No, I would remember this strange looking type of boat. This is a very strange. The boat that you guys came on, yeah, that's very strange.
Because several of our number were in a boat like this and were taken by pirates and are currently being held by pirates.
Well, that's them then. So yes, those are the same people, and that is the way. I mean, when you go north of here, it's about another couple of hours at least, maybe 3 hours to the north of here, where there's a current that moves to the west. I mean, the reason you can do that is because the island itself is blocking the overall push of the eastern current. So you can approach the island from the west because it has sort of a swath of the current that it's knocking out, right? But we haven't, as far as we can tell, that's the only place that you can go to that escapes the eastern current. Otherwise, all eastern current leads you back to the mall.
How large is your group?
He says we are now down to about a little over 50 people, almost 60, 58 people, and we're stuck on another island pretty far to the east of here, but at least 2 or 3 hours away from the mall. But the currents around that island are just absolutely tragic. It is a very difficult thing for us to, in a boat, a small boat, to push. There's only one time of day when we can get sail with that makeshift ship sailing boat there that we made to push past the eastern currents to the west from our island. It's further back to the east, and the island is covered in greenery and rocks all over the place, and it's a rookery for these little dragonet creatures, and they have killed a lot of our people. I mean, if you go out and try and do anything, you get attacked by these dragonets. My people are actually holed up in a cave on the island, and we had to kill a bunch of the dragonets inside the cave to take that cave over from the dragonets, and we erected a makeshift block to prevent more dragonets from coming in the cave.
And how long have you been here?
He says, sad to say, but we've been in this area for about 6 months now, and we're running low on everything.
I think we are in a slightly better position than you. We are on the beach, one valley, I believe one valley over.
Over to the west or to the east?
To the west.
Okay, good. Because the valley to the east...
we are east of here. Right?
No, we are west of here.
Yeah, the valley to the east of here has got some pretty nasty creatures and also some kind of humanoid that's tall and tusked and dangerous.
Okay, wait. So we're nowhere near the valley. We're nowhere near the island we tried to get to.
No, the island we were trying to get to was to the west. We've been pushed way to the east.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the plan was still solid.
Yes.
We just happened to run into this on the way to executing our plan.
That's
Our
right.
Okay.
plan
That's
of
right.
going north was still going to carry us where we wanted to go.
Right.
But
Y'all's
it
goal...
seems like the pirates that we're looking for are actually this way, not at that island.
That's right. So y'all's goal was basically to go almost at a 45-degree angle on the map to the northwest. What you ended up with was almost a 45-degree angle to the northeast. But now, according to this guy, Tim Sussy, there is a way to get to where you want to go within these waters, although he's clearly has warned you that that is not a good thing. He says that as much as the dragonets are on our island, There are actually probably 3 to 4 times that many on the pirate island, and very dangerous pirates. And I don't know how the pirates survive with all those damn dragonettes. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Are they perhaps allied with or is there some kind of do you think they're perhaps allied with the dragonettes in some way?
We have one wizard in our group who tried to do some ritual magic to speak to the dragonettes, and he claims that they are not intelligent, or he says they have about as much intelligence as a faithful hound and no more. So suggesting that they are
can be faithful hounds.
right. So, but I wouldn't call them allies. They're animals. But anyway, they're not coordinating. If you say, are they held by the pirates in some degree as pets? Yes, I would bet they are. But the fact of the matter is, there are maybe as many as 1,000 on the pirate island. So I just don't see. It's a vast, wild population of these things. So we have to be very careful when we set sail and have bowmen, because those things are quite dangerous.
If there's that many of them, what are they feeding on?
They eat fish.
Is there that many fish in this area?
There's tons of fish in this area. Ridiculous
Okay.
amounts of fish. He says, I've never seen waters this bountiful. It's crazy.
Is there any time of day that the dragonettes are particularly out or particularly away, asleep?
Yes, they sleep at night just like we tend to. So and dusk and dawn are not good for them. They don't seem to have very excellent eyesight, maybe not even as good as the humans. So they tend to have trouble. They actually do well swimming in the water. So you'll see them actually land on the surface of the water and dive down to get fish. But also they do this thing where they just dive down and strike the water, and I think they physically hit the fish or something like that.
So it's like the dragon version of a cormorant.
Or a pelican, yeah. Yep. And there's lots of them, and he describes them, and they sound roughly similar to the ones that you've seen.
The ones that were attacking along with the cur?
Yes. Yep. Those ones exactly.
Well, it seems like the cur have found a way to coordinate with them, so...
Really? Well, he says he's seen Kerr on the shore, and he had heard about Kerr from before he even attempted the migration, because he had talked with some people who had been on Daron before, but he did not know that they, were very many of them. He said, "How many of them have you seen?"
We've encountered 2 tribes of them that seem to be fairly large.
He says, "Well, that's news to me. I've only seen a couple walking along the shore near the area where those taller humanoids, the very dangerous ones with big spears, are. And obviously, you saw me warning you against whatever turtle creature that is."
The dragon turtle.
Yeah, dragon turtle. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's very aggressive if you go into this shallower area here. All of this area, it seems to really want to protect.
So we think it's a female, so perhaps a mother.
Yeah, maybe it's got a brood somewhere around here. But anyway, it is great to meet other people, and I assume that it is probably to our best interest to try and get my people out of where they are and get them towards your people, so that we can all group up.
Yeah, and other than all of the dragonettes on the pirate island, does the pirate island seem to be a place that perhaps we would want to drive them out of and take for ourselves?
Well, other than the dangers of the dragonettes and the pirates, yes. I mean, if we can do that, are you how many people are with you?
A few hundred.
And capable warriors and such?
Several.
Okay. Well, that's mostly better than my group. I mean, we have probably 10 people who are capable combatants, and I don't know if the wizard really knows much in the way of combat. He did cast one, dangerous spell at the dragonettes in order to capture one and study it. So he can do some things for sure. But that's good. If you have that many people and another group of capable combatants, maybe the two of our groups together can put together a sizable force to assault the pirate area.
That was the intent of our group here, was to go and assault these pirate haines.
He says, well, I concur. He says, it is getting towards the time of day when I have to be going back. I was looking and hoping against hope that we would run into somebody from that ship out here. We've named this particular place Destiny's Point, and there is also a strange thing that happens. He says about an hour from now is when it will happen, but I don't have time to stay and watch it again. If you want to, you're welcome to. But it is a geyser that comes up out of the ocean here, and just blasts pretty high into the air. So it does sort of mark this area, as well as all of these rocks and stuff. But this is a very focal area for the current. It's a way, obviously, that seawall there is being smashed to bits over time, but it is, for now, at least blocking the current, at least temporarily, to where you can get by it with a push like you guys just did. So he says, I have to go back to my island, but if
Where's this geyser at?
he points over here. Let's show you. Where
Northeast,
it
west, or
is.
south from us?
It's to the south. 1 second. Okay, so he points to, he says it's between that, and basically you get the idea that it's right about there, where I just drew that purple squiggle.
Yeah,
Okay,
towards
so in one
where
of
the
shallower
turtle.
areas.
Yeah, a little.
Towards
just
the danger zone.
for what? He says.
About halfway between
He
us
says,
and the turtle.
I would not go into any of this shallower area here. And when he says that, he means in any of the, any of this area in between that blasting rock area over there, this rock, and all the islands that you see right here. I would stay out of that area. I think that's the area that it protects. He says you can approach this rock that we're standing on from the north, and you're okay. It won't come up on this rock and bother us. It looked at us a few times.
Is there a way for your people to get to us?
He says, well, yes, we can do the same thing you guys did in reverse. We can push piece at a time to get, because we only have, our ship is grounded, and we're slowly but surely repairing it. I don't know that the ship is going to be useful, though. It's too big, and I don't think it will make enough progress here. But
How many people will your small ship hold?
It might hold 12 to 16 if we're lucky. So, we'll have to do several trips. But we toured the coastline in that scouting ship that we have, and we determined it was all too dangerous. There was a valley to the east with the big tusked humanoids, and then the valley to the west, which you can't get beyond due to the current, seemed to have a ton of those dragonettes in it, and that must be where you guys are.
We saw the dragonettes on our initial arrival, along with a sizable contingent of cur.
Yeah, that's where we saw a tribe of cur too, or a group of cur.
And we've managed to push them back and have seen cur since, but have not seen dragonettes since.
I see. Well, so yes, so you are on that shore. Okay, interesting. Well, all right. That for us, it is good news. You know, it's a good thing for you that I was here, but I'm sure it's probably not the best news. But as a ship's captain, I can tell you with my knowledge of this area, after 6 months of taking my scout ship out when I can, there is no way past the currents to the west except to the what I guess we should call the Pirates Island, and then otherwise we have to go all the way back to the east and sail around the Maw, and from this direction it's even more difficult than it is from the south. So I don't like our odds. I think land is the best bet we got, like where you guys are. If y'all have made a beachhead there, that's our best bet.
So what's our best bet of getting back to there from where we are now?
He says, well, you can do that by just finding the currents that are not as strong back to the west. But there's one main current that is just impossible to get beyond. Right? So anyway.
All right.
He says you can angle back to the south. As long as you're going south from here, you can angle back that way. Of course, when you're going north, you can use the force of the eastern current to push you a little bit more to the north. So that's easier when you're going east. When you're going west, you can only go south. You can't go, until you get more north of here. When you get more north of here, due to the suck of the island to the west, the Pirate Island, you can approach the Pirate Island. It's just very dangerous. So that's the only way you can get to the west. And it's so dangerous my people can't do it. If you guys can do it, more power to you. Okay, so what time is it? It is now, okay, so we got 30 more minutes. We could still do something if y'all want to. I am prepared. I've got another chunk of this story prepared depending on what y'all decide to do.
How much of these islands here have you explored?
Well, he says quite a bit within the Sea of Death. What I'm calling the Sea of Death is everything to the east and south of the Pirate Island that's protected by that current. So,
Have you a map that you can share?
well, he will prepare. He will show you his map when he goes back to the cave and gets it, but he doesn't have it with him.
Do you think you can get your people to where we are?
Actually, he probably does have the map with him, so he can navigate with it, or one copy of it. So, but it's on the ship. He will show it to you, but I don't have that drawn up myself right now, so I'll have to give it to you next time. What now? What was your last question?
Does he think he can get his people to where we are?
Yes, he says, I've scouted that shore and decided not to land there because it was too dangerous. But if I've already established a beachhead, then yes, we're going to ferry my people there bit by bit, because right now we're stuck in this one cave and we're literally living in our own poop. It's terrible.
What have you been eating?
We've been eating fish and we've been eating dragonettes. They're edible.
If you manage to kill them. All right.
They're hard to kill, but they're not impossible to kill. A good Hainish bowman can take one down.
How many arrows does it generally take to take one down?
Depending on the bowman, 4 or 5. But I mean, if you hurt one good, it'll fall, and then it's in the water. It's an easier target, or on the land, hobbling, it's an easier target. Some of them have different things that they can do. Some of them breathe with fire or with electricity. Most of them are just biters.
Is there a way to tell the difference between the ones who can breathe fire or electricity and the biters?
He says yes. I think you'd probably have to ask our wizard about that. He knows more about how you classify them than I do. I haven't really paid too much attention. I do know that the ones that are sort of rust colored tend to be the ones that have a pretty good little gout of flame that they can blast out. The ones with the electrical thing, I mean, I saw a guy got hit and he still was fighting, so it's not something that's just going to fry you immediately.
Probably not good for you if you're in the water, though.
Well, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, you're right. That would be pretty bad.
All right. So, do we want to go back home? Do we want to head to the Pirates, or do we want to go back to the check out where these guys are from?
That's
Well, I
the
don't want to go
question.
back home.
We could follow them back and see what we can do to help them get to where we are.
Okay.
We could fit at least a couple extra in our boat.
Yes.
Okay, so is the general consensus then that y'all are headed back towards, y'all are going to follow them to their island?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so he looks at your little boat there and he says, your boat is longer, got a longer keel even than my small ship. It doesn't have a sail, so it's going to take some pretty skilled rowing to get your boat off of my island once it gets there. Because
Do
we
you
use
think
the extra power of the wind at a certain time of day to do that, and we, like, literally almost can't row it out there by itself. We can't row it past. So
Could you rig up a mast and a sail that we could jury rig into this boat?
he says, no problem. It's just that you should know that once you get there, it'll probably take us 2 or 3 days to do that. Right?
Are we fine with that?
I suppose, but I would actually like to be able to tell somebody back where we're sure we're going to be gone if we're going to be gone that long.
Well, you see the guy, the bowman that was up on top of the rock. He hops down, and he makes a grumping noise, and the Tim looks up into the sky, looks at the sun, and goes, "Yeah, okay. The time is getting close for when our gap is, so we have to move on. So you really do need to make your decision." So he gets in. They get in their boat, and they say, "We'll wait for your decision, but we're getting ready." So they ferry themselves out to their boat, right?
All right. I'm good
I
with
have
what the
no way to
decision is, but
communicate
I've got to
with
go
back home.
AFK
Maybe
for a few
Zahir
minutes again.
can.
Are you, Ray, saying that you need to step away from your computer? Is that what you're saying? I guess the
I believe
answer
that's
is
what he just said.
Okay.
That he has to step away.
okay. All right. Didn't quite.
Zahir, can you communicate with our camp?
Okay, so Zahir looks like he kind of wakes up and says, "I'm sorry. Yes, yes.
Can you communicate with camp for us?
Oh no, too far." He
All right.
says,
So what do we want to do? Do we want to go back with them, or do we want to head back to camp?
"I suppose. I don't know that anyone there. That Majid fellow speaks Maturi. I suppose I could send my pet."
Okay, that could work.
So, yes, I guess is the proper answer.
So, Ardeth, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I was looking forward to going and attacking a bunch of evil Hanes. So that's already been shot down. At this point, let's go do something new, for God's sakes. Let's go to their island, let them turn the boat into a sailboat, and then we've got sailing options later.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay. All right, so we are following them back to their island. And Zahir just kind of was there a decision on?
Yeah, let them know we're going to be away from camp, that we are safe. We are away from camp for 3 or 4 days probably, and that we'll have some newcomers joining us when we return.
Okay, so this is Zahir's roll. Okay, that's a pretty good roll. All right, so he says, well, I suppose I should do this properly. And he pulls out a piece of parchment and he slowly, painstakingly writes, and he says, wait a minute, and the people on the boat are going like, we've got to go now. And he's writing and saying, hang on just 1 second, and they're like, okay, follow us when you're ready, and they take off, and he spends a few more moments writing, and then rolls it up and puts it into the a little leather thong thing, and he does a summoning thing, which takes 20 seconds or so, and there's a flying creature there, which I don't know. I don't think you've ever seen it, Mike. Have you?
Have we seen it before?
Have you seen it, Mike?
I do not have any recollection of having seen anything that the year produced.
What was that?
How big is it?
What was that special command?
Oh, we saw the feathered snake. We saw
Z,
the
I
guano
believe.
before.
Shift
I saw
Z?
it before it attacked us.
Okay, so
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
we've
I
seen
tried
it.
to kill
It has
that in my
attacked
first
us.
game.
yes, okay, so he resummons that and puts the message around its neck, and it flies off to the south. All right, and then your boat takes off, trying to catch up to the Hamish sailboat. Okay, so now you need to have just a little bit of luck. So roll a luck roll and don't roll a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Those will mean that for some reason it gets too far ahead of you, and they'll have to make some sort of a decision instead of you.
I've
Yeah.
been rolling lots of 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. So
Okay, so by the hardest, you manage to row and keep moderate pace. Of course, this time the easterly current is actually helping you, and you discover that just like Captain Tim said, your boat with a longer keel is actually faster in the water than their boat is, and the winds are not going the right way right now, so they're not really using the force of sail. So y'all actually catch up with them and don't have to row too hard. So you follow them back to their island. Okay. Let's see. It's 11 o'clock now. All right. So how do I want to play this? Okay. So you come to a fairly large island. It's probably 4 hours away from where you are right now. So it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon right now when you get there. And you start seeing again an area very similar to this one where there are rocks and reefs and sand and just lots of little jutting projections. And then you see bigger rocks and bigger rocks and bigger, and finally there's an island. Okay, and so you find an island that is, I don't know, it's at least 2 or 3 miles long, and you guys probably saw this island in the distance when you came through with your ships. Both the Swell Jumper and the
Pixie Trough.
Yes. Okay, so you begin to weave into the area where. And you follow the captain. The captain yells at you to stay very close because he knows the way through the reefs. So you follow him, and he says, okay, at one point he says, okay, we're going to have to shoot this gap here. And, you know, the wind has changed by this time, so he is able to use his sail, and you guys have to row it. We're not going to make those rolls. We're just going to say that for whatever reason y'all are able to push through at that time. As the game master, I reserve the right to make that difficult in the future. But for right now, you're able to shoot that gap and get in through the reef section. All of you are not really trained in sailing or anything like that, so none of you particularly would necessarily even remember where that place is. So I'm just letting you know that that is also an issue. But you get into a bay, and inside this bay there is jungle on all sides. You row the bay all the way up into this place where there's 3 or 4 large rivers that let out into the bay, and they're separated by, I don't know, 600 feet in one direction and about half a mile in the other direction. But you can see them as you paddle across the bay. And then the central river is the one that you head towards, and you see a huge hill with rock. It's mostly rock. There's trees all over it. There's trees all over the island. And then you see a section where there's cave after cave entrance, and there's this clearly built up area of wooden fortifications in front of one of the caves. And you see,
So this island in this bay is about the size of the valley that we're in. Then
the bay that you just rode through is bigger than the valley y'all came from, if that's what you're saying. Yeah.
yes,
Significantly bigger than that valley. Okay, so but you get to the rocky part there, and you can see that there's at least a couple of scouts with bows out, and they wave as y'all come in, and it's clear that there's a commotion because, hey, new people, and y'all are welcomed into the cave fortification. So you get inside there, and probably by the time you do that, let's see, that's another couple of hours, so it's probably around 4 to 5 p.m. and you can smell the smells of the cook fires burning, as they're preparing fish or dragonette or whatever it is for dinner. So you guys all settle
I'm
in
back.
to the cave camp, and yes, these people look like they are pretty beat up the same way that your people are, but it's a little bit different because some of them have different types of wounds, dragonette burns and bites, and they're also all jammed into this really stinky, it smells of guano in here, dragonette guano, bat guano, just a really dank, smelly, human crap cave. So anyway, so that's where I think we're gonna end. We don't have to end the session, but basically that's where you're gonna stop forward progression. If you have questions or whatever, you can talk about those. You see that they've erected some iron tools that are used commonly in shipwright type activities and carpentry, and they have like an area of this cave that's a pretty sizable chunk of the cave area is actually set aside to be a kind of a ship repair and ship working area. And there's obviously one dude that seems to be walking around in that area who's yelling at people. You assume he's a carpenter or a shipwright of some sort. So anyway, he's the only other super notable person that you see there. You look around maybe, and there's any number of people dressed in muddy, nasty robes that could potentially be the wizard. No one makes any particular introductions, but there are a lot of people coming up to talk to you and say, hey, and they're very happy to see some new faces, So y'all get just swamped with hundreds of questions about where you're at, what's Thark like. You have to tell them you're not from Thark, that you haven't been there, you're trying to get there, and all those types of situations. So if y'all have any other additional questions, you can ask in PvP if you want to, and we can end the session, or you can ask now if you want to.
I'm gonna ask you one thing. Can you create me a character sheet for my spirit?
Oh, okay, yes.
I will endeavor to find the wizard.
Okay.
He's off to see the wizard. I guess both of my characters are probably going to be most interested in, seeing the people's wounds and illnesses and whatnot. Calvin probably spend more time talking to people, just trying to lift spirits up.
Okay, so I just created the Raven Spirit sheet, and it should be in your journal,
Got
and
it.
you should have control of it. Okay.
All right.
Does anyone not have? Okay, I see Erden, Adeline, Nuri. Okay, so everybody's got their secondary characters sheets. Okay, that's good.
What game number is this?
This would be session 12.
Okay, that was my guess.
and I'll be uploading the recording for session 11 and session 12 here pretty soon. I just have to go through and edit them for the places where I showed the key stupidly because I was forced to. But anyway, we can handle other questions or things you might want to do in PvP. And then I did have a couple of things that were potential combats depending on what you did set up for this session. Y'all just didn't happen to run right into those. So, you know, maybe next session we'll see.
Like the dragon turtle.
Yeah, the dragon turtle was a possibility, you know, and, you know, anytime there's one big creature in 4th edition, it's actually much easier than, I would say, than in other versions of D&D for a group of lower level people to take on one big creature. The only real issue with it is the hit, the being able to hit. So, you know, at a certain level of creature, it gets really, really hard to hit. So all of y'all are shooting, and basically that is very realistic. All the bouncing arrows off the dragon or whatever, you know, typical type of stuff. But you know, in terms of raw hit points, let's say it even has 400 hit points. Eventually, you'll kill it. It's just how many of you does it kill before you get to that point. So, you know, it's not impossible, is what I'm saying. Anyway. Does anybody have any questions before we close the session?
How do you spell Ord, the deity?
Ard. Ard is
Ard. How do you spell
A-A-R-D. A-A-R-D.
Gotcha.
And,
Doesn't have an H hidden in it somewhere?
Nope. Pretty peculiar as Hainish deities go. And
Actually, most of the Hainsties don't have. Nellis doesn't. Tarn doesn't.
Tarn does. It's T-H-A-R-N. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'll have to
You
look it
changed
up.
how you spelled it since the old
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I think I may have changed the spelling since the old days. Endeavor does, of course. The thing about where I got Ard from was heavy metal, if you know.
Yeah.
The priest of Ulatek, the guy that says, "I'm Ard, priest of Ulatek." You know, what if we resist? Well, you die, she dies, everybody dies. That's Ard. Anyway, that's where that comes from. So, yep, okay. I know that was, you know, some role playing and lots of skills rolls, but you know, hopefully it was a mildly enjoyable session.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Thank you for running.
Our death got to do something heroic, so that's a first.
Yep, throw a lady on the board.
And I got to almost die my first time out.
Well, that's what Mike said earlier. If it wouldn't be a session, and now we're gonna have to say if one of John's characters doesn't almost die.
Y'all don't forget Robert's post about once per game you can just ignore a fumble though.
That's
So your
true.
loyalty bonus. I was surprised no you didn't use it on one of those.
That's true. That's true. Yep.
Well, I thought we might have a big combat coming up, so I didn't want to use it up.
And that's the
In
that's
my
the quandary.
experience, non-combat fumbles are much worse,
I like it.
especially if there's magic involved.
Yes. Yeah,
Never
exactly.
fumble a ritual.
Yeah, don't fumble the rituals. Yes.
Well, I've experienced that
Well, anyway.
more than once.
Until you have a giant fireball or you have a 500-foot dark cube that you have summoned, or you create 4 undead generators, you haven't experienced it yet.
One of my fumbles got wealth for us, so that was good. One of my fumbles got us gems.
That's right.
Yeah.
There can be
One
windfall.
of my fumbles gave me a point of intelligence,
That's right.
but it paled in comparison to the other 4.
Yeah, this is fantasy role playing. Weird things can happen, and you know that's what I like. I like for the when you're going for long-standing or permanent ritual type magic. There's some degree of risk, especially and kind of going in. You'll know, well, this ritual's this hard, and what do I have to roll to make it? And oh my goodness, that's high, but am I going to do it because it's worth it or not? That sort of thing. It's always a trade-off in decision making. So anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to sign out for the evening and stop the recording.